Chicken jockey.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome to this May 6th edition of Show Business. I come to you as always as Charles, otherwise known as Sipo. To top right on the screen is Greg Poupé. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing good. It's past Cinco de Mayo. Good times.
Busy
very
week
happy.
for themed days. We had May the 4th and now Cinco de Mayo, and I don't know what the hell this is.
So love that
Good.
in addition to May the 4th having May the 4th be with you, if you're an Arrested Development fan, it also has Cuatro de Cinco.
Well, Lindsey, you're there
Lindsey.
reappropriating Captain America there with your shirt. How are you this week?
Oh, I'm taking it back from Disney. He's not Disney's character, he's my character. But dude, I'm good. I literally, very literally, right before we went live, finished watching this week's episode of The Last of Us. And so the fact that they found more of us is like, it's still blowing my mind. Like, I haven't recovered yet.
The last of some.
That's just something.
We will be discussing that at the tail end after the news. So if you want to listen to this news and not have things spoiled, we'll do Last of Us spoilers at the tail end of the episode. But to the weekend that was, and we're already an extra day away now. Thunderbolts pulling in 74.3 million. That's good enough for first. I'll say it again. The surprising thing at number 2 is Sinners with 33.1 million, dropping to only 27% beneath their last week's score or total, which that was 5% lower than their first week. So in 2 weeks total, Sinners has only dropped 33% from their opening weekend,
Sure.
which is wild. It's absolutely fascinating. And in third, of course, is Chicken Jockey, a Minecraft movie, still doing quite well, 13.7. The Accountant 2, which is available on streaming here in Europe, interestingly enough, 9.4 million. And Until Dawn just kind of happy in its spot of 5th place once again with 3.8 million. So, I don't know how to talk about this without addressing the fact that it has a new title as of right now. Thunderbolts asterisk is now being publicized or marketed as the new Avengers asterisk. Is that a
Indeed.
spoiler?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, it is a plot point, but it's the way they're marketing it now, and seems a little different than say DC's Harley Quinn one, like the Emancipation of Harley. I forget what it was.
Yeah,
and then
that
changed to
long
Birds
name.
of Prey.
Yeah. But if this was their intent, if it were in the movie that they're the asterisk new Avengers, why not release 4 days ago with that title? Is it merely a gag to try to pump up that second weekend number because normies are gonna be like, oh, I don't know anything about this, but the title says the new Avengers, so I'm here for it. Lindsey, thoughts?
I just saw Puppy's head pop into Gray's screen for a second, so my only thought right now is Puppy. I'm sorry.
The attention span of a gnat. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I do agree. I think it is specifically to to any other studio, any other franchise, 74 million or 73, 70.
74.1.
What's the final?
Wait, I'll get the exact number.
Yeah.
It's 74.3.
74.3. Any other franchise or studio, that'd be incredible. They'd be very happy with it. They're probably not upset about it, but they still would have liked more because this is, I think, when you adjust for inflation, this is the second lowest Marvel opening of the MCU. So that's noteworthy. But
Even the Marvels?
Yeah, no, I think Marvel's is the last one, and then this is second place. Correct me on that
So
if I'm wrong,
I
but
I have comparables.
Oh,
The
nice.
Eternals opened to 71.2 million,
oh
and
yeah, when you adjust that for inflation, it's like 80 or something like that.
man, that was just 3 years
Uh,
ago.
Yeah, no, the only reason I know this is because I saw someone post on Twitter that this thing that I'm saying where it's the second lowest opening ever, and I was like, "There's no way that's true." So I went and looked up the adjusted for Ant-Man, for the Marvels, and for the Eternals, and I'm pretty sure the Marvels is the only one that after adjusted it comes in just below that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll see
Kind of
if I
makes
can
sense.
find
And
the
those
exact
were
tweets. Go ahead.
interesting comparables that you had on that slide because those are all kind of unknown groups or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really. The Thunderbolts isn't known as a huge group, even though these characters have kind of been introduced in other ones. We didn't know who the hell Guardians of the Galaxy was, and
Right.
the Eternals. They're not exactly huge on there, so it seems like it's
Stellar.
kind of in where it belongs. But
Sure.
yeah, I think with this name change, yeah, maybe I'm cynical, but I'm assuming they're doing it for that second weekend. There's not a lot opening this weekend other than like Fight or Flight, and there's like one other one. I
Yeah.
think this is still going to be huge, and with that name change and a little bit of buzz, I don't think this will stay one of the lower ones, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, you have to remember that there was a point in time where that was an unrecognized name. So it opening to 94.3 is quite impressive. But that's not adjusted for inflation. So that's got to be like 110, 120. But, Thunderbolts appears to be, it's 3 million above what Eternals did just a few years ago. And, that ended up pulling in a worldwide gross of 401. And I would say split the difference. Guardians of the Galaxy's total was 770. Right now, Thunderbolts is looking at 160 worldwide. So it's probably going to be somewhere in between 400 and 750 for its gross, which is that a failure? Like I'm trying to figure out like what did we expect for this? Because I feel like 74.3 on top of the fact that the Sinners just is not dying. There's competition for that ticket price. So I think it's going to be the same thing next weekend because it feels like Sinners is just something that's the word of mouth is carrying that movie. So like there's actual competition. It doesn't matter what comes out this weekend. And this is probably the last gasp. I mean, I don't know how much either Sinners or Thunderbolts would be competing with Final Destination Bloodlines, but it is competition to some regard. And then when Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch come out, then then it's time just plan your VOD schedule. Sorry, Lindsey.
Okay, we can't hear you, bud.
My bad. Maybe again, I am cynical, but I think that's why they did the change. I think they're really looking to bank on this weekend. It doesn't seem like there's a ton coming out, so that's my idea behind the thing. I could totally be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I got a feeling this isn't going to be kind of the worst Marvel one out there. When you look at like a lot of the last few, they really didn't live up to expectations. This, while it didn't hit its expectation, I think it was supposed to be 170 worldwide. I think it got 161 or something like that. So it's not super far off of
160.
there. I expected it to do worse. Okay, my bad. The
gray estimate was 170.
I saw. Yeah. No, I think when I remember hearing about it, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, but I remember hearing they're estimating 170 worldwide on this. So they didn't quite hit that, but man, they're not far off. And I have to think with the name change, I don't know. Again, it's something to get people out there, and it's not the same word of mouth that we got on Captain America 4 or whatever.
I mean, I think that they're 160 worldwide already, and you consider Captain America Brave New World totaled at 414. Like, it's got to be on pace for something stronger than a Captain America movie. Like, if you told me 10 years ago that a Captain America movie would just kind of fizzle after a month, I wouldn't believe you. But maybe it's not name recognition anymore. Maybe it's having to do some work and winning an audience back. Go figure. Lindsey, what are
Yeah.
you cooking up over there?
Well, I'm just double checking what the Falcon and the Winter Captain's opening weekend was, and it was 88.
Mhm.
But that I guess it was technically a holiday weekend. But
Valentine's Day?
for the 3-day, President's Day and Valentine's Day.
Oh.
I'll just
Pick your holiday. It's that.
But just for the for the full Friday for Monday it pulled 100 million, but for just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday it pulled 88. So this did open weaker than Captain America, but I think one thing to keep in mind with this is who's the box office draw in Thunderbolts. I adore Florence Pugh, like one of my favorite ladies just ever. She's amazing, but is she is she really a box office juggernaut? Like Wyatt Russell,
Not a juggernaut.
I love the guy, but
Yeah, it's a cast of that guy, that girl.
yeah.
Well, Sebastian Stan just got Oscar nomination last
Sure.
year, so I mean, like, I think he's technically the biggest draw on it.
That
but
Trump guy is in this.
yeah.
Well, I love that he just did that and he was just Trump, and now he's a U.S. senator in the Marvel movies, but also still doing spy stuff. It's like this dude's career is wild. I do agree, though. Sebastian Stan is definitely the biggest star in the movie. I mean, or Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I mean, she's TV, but
Veep?
Seinfeld. I don't know if people are going to go to the movie for her. Maybe.
Gray, how do you hear Lindsey?
There's a little bit of mufflage going on, but I can hear him. I think you're definitely coming through that mic. I don't know exactly what's happening with it.
Have you checked your muffler? Because you're muffling, Lindsey.
Audio.
Now it went
Source,
different.
Sure. Okay. Wait. So is it better now, or is it still kind of weird?
Actually, a little better now, I think.
Okay. Maybe I just need
For a
to
second it got
closer.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think we're at a better spot now. Yeah, sorry for sidetracking you there.
No, that's
Oh,
my
yeah,
fault.
hey, technical difficulties need to be addressed. It's
Well,
okay.
yeah,
It's
they
okay.
need to hear you. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
smart.
maybe.
Listen to the words.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a delay,
there's
so
some-
we won't find out for a couple of
okay.
seconds how you're sounding. But I don't hear a difference, but I've got this weird echo thing because I've got weird windows open at the same time.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay.
Lindsey.
I don't know how you deal with that.
Frantically. Lindsey, what did you think of this movie, and will I remember it in a month like I didn't remember Captain America?
I really like this. There are moments where it's like, oh, there's the Marvel in it, but this felt very different than a lot of other Marvel movies. I'm not going to pretend like it's like a visual masterpiece, but I feel like the color grading and like the way it was lit in a lot of ways was a lot better too. Not incredibly better, but just kind of a step up. I was kind of bored with how Captain America looked a lot of the time, so I was kind of like into this one. But generally speaking, this movie is very fun. It's about things. It's not scared to get dark, and
It's
not like
about things. Biggest
the
thumbs up. It's about stuff and things.
True, but I'm just trying to avoid spoilers here. But the first line of the movie is "There's something wrong with me." Like, if that doesn't grab your attention and make you be like, "Okay, what's this movie trying to say?" I don't know what will. And like the entire opening scene was doing cool things with shadows, which comes into play in the third act, and just every character is. I know I'm just kind of rambling here, but is so broken, and they've all got something wrong inside of them. So that opening line isn't just applying to Florence Pugh. I'm only going to call her Florence Pugh. I'm not going to call her Yelena. But like each character kind of has their moment about what's wrong with them, and then that kind of ties in with the bad guy of the movie, which I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not going to Lindsey this discussion. But it comes back to that theme from that very first opening line, and I'm not going to pretend like that's groundbreaking filmmaking. They're not inventing the montage here or anything in terms of breaking cinema, but it was a nice touch. It was cool to see a deep theme like that not pull its punches through a Marvel movie.
Yeah, the word I keep seeing coming up is it's about depression. It's a movie about depression. And I can't tell you how excited I am to watch a movie about depression because, man, I want to escape my depression and go watch a movie about superheroes who have depression. Gray, what about you?
I don't know that it's going to
Go on.
help you escape it completely, but it'll definitely touch on it a little bit. I don't know. So I'm gonna slightly disagree with Lindsay, where you
Oh,
said that you like the look of it.
Okay.
Every shot is either gray or mustard colored, which
based.
you think it would be right in my ballpark, my bandwagon, but no. Somehow, just I don't know. I guess I wanted it to look a little bit different, but it is the director who did The Robot and Frank like a decade ago, and
Oh,
then Beef. So I like a lot of what he's doing, and it feels like it kind of hits some levels that other Marvel ones haven't necessarily been able to hit in the recent past. So that being said, to me, yeah, I think people will still be remembering this a lot more than Captain America, at least in my opinion.
Gray, let me stick with you for a second. In comparison to what you remember of what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy, does this
Mhm.
have staying power the way that did? Because that was just, I didn't,
No.
okay. Because I wasn't going to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Within a weekend, I'm like, you know what, let me just go with that, see what the hell this is about. And that was
I
within
don't think
3
it's
days.
going to have that, but it might, especially with the name change, because I'm assuming people are like, wait, it's the new Avengers. I think I would like to see what the new Avengers are, and that might be the thing to go, because I think there's going to be essentially 3 sets of Avengers in the near future, and
But
that might be the new idea, is these team ups of characters that that are now going to actually take on something that requires the whole team.
what about the
Could be
normie?
fun.
What about the normie that's like in a coma as far as these movies are concerned for the last 5 years, and they see the
Think you'd
poster,
be fine.
but like they see the
Uh,
poster and they're like, the new Avengers, where's Hawkeye? Where's the ones that lived? These are none of them. Can't that
well, you've
backfire
got
a little bit?
yes, 100%. But you got the classic Avengers. Those are coming up. They've already announced those. You got the Secret Wars and Doomsday.
This is
But
Avengers Zero. There's a
no, this is new
0% sugar.
Avengers. Come on. And then Young Avengers is probably coming together once they finish the Vision Quest
Hmm.
TV show.
Barely legal
But
Avengers.
yeah, so I don't know. Yes, I think it could turn off people, but I don't think you're missing a ton with these characters. I even forgot where a couple of them are from. I've definitely seen them, and I saw the one that they were introduced in, but like Ghost, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you where that character comes from. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember which one. But I don't think that detracts from it at all. It's kind of like they're taking on a new team. They kind of reintroduce the characters, and then you just kind of get to go from there. I think you're seeing what a lot of people were wanting before, like quit giving us the origin story. Just go, like have them go do their thing. You're getting a bit of that in here. So I don't know. I think it'll be memorable, but nothing like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not that deluded. It doesn't have a soundtrack that really will go on like that, and it doesn't seem like it's got those extras. But it wasn't. It was slightly above meh for me. So for me, it's better than a lot of the last few.
Lindsay, in comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy, and like, how this thing that no one really heard of managed to catch on, do you think this can compare or can hold on for a little bit?
I'm taking Gray's differing opinion as a personal slight against myself. So
You should.
I'm just going to be quiet for the rest of the stream. So actually, I do have a quick, funny Guardians of the Galaxy story, because there was like some Avengers cartoon I was watching when I was bored one summer before the movie came out, but after Avengers, and the Guardians were in one episode. But then I completely forgot about them because they really weren't all that interesting of characters or anything. But then the Guardians of the Galaxy movie comes out, I'm like, oh, these guys are kind of cool. So yeah, until James Gunn came along and made that movie, they really did not exist in any capacity, and then they suddenly became one of the most popular. So no, this is not going to do that. This is not going to become the movie of the year, the most sold soundtrack or anything. I did enjoy some of the music. Again, in that opening scene, there was this kind of this creepy tone that was going through some of the stuff that I couldn't. I can't really tell you what it is because I don't really remember it, so it wasn't that memorable. But while I was watching the movie, I went, "Oh, I like this." This is, I think this is above most post Endgame Marvel, but it's below a good amount of pre Endgame Marvel. Like, if I were to be ranking Marvels, there's like what? How many Marvel movies are there now?
Too many.
It's not in the top
Agreed.
10, but it might be in the top 15.
Dude, there's like 50 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't even
Feels like it.
Yeah, but the characters all worked for me. Ghost was from Ant-Man 2, by the way.
Oh, that's
It is.
right.
I mean, that's we haven't seen her since then, so I don't blame you for forgetting her.
Yeah, I was like, I
you say
can't.
this. Mm,
I just couldn't place it. It's like I know I've seen her, but I couldn't tell you where. That makes sense.
And I wonder how many people wanted this and be like, "Who is Wyatt Russell here?" I didn't watch Captain America and the Winter Falcon. Like, what is what? Who is this guy? And that is an issue that Marvel has: the amount of homework you need to do for some things. I think for this, you needed to watch Black Widow, the Hawkeye TV show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, I got it right. And I'm forgetting. I know I'm forgetting one here. The rest of the Marvel movies. So there's it's getting to the point where it's kind of it's like comic books. It's too convoluted and tied into each other to really be that easily accessible. At least that's how it feels for me.
Mm. Um,
Oh, you were playing music. I was like, wait, did anyone else hear that?
that is,
We did.
That's
It
just
was
your
intentional.
psyche. Marcy, I have donated to your spot fund, Charles. Okay.
Oh, what's up, Marcy?
So
Oh, yeah.
reading the message. So I just want to give you all an update on my dad since I've talked to you much about him lately. So on Thursday night, he took his last breath and died in his sleep. Since has me and my
God,
family
Marcy.
prepared to get him cremated, right now we are grieving over his death. It's the hardest for my mother. But just some spare info for my dad's favorite movie was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He liked Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, and Jason Statham are his favorite actors. And his favorite director of all time is Quentin Tarantino, with his favorite probably being Kill Bill or Pulp Fiction. And lastly, he really enjoyed a band
Yes.
called The Band, but loved
The
explicitly
band was awesome.
the 70s music like Creedence Clearwater or Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Come on, CCR, man.
Yeah, I was trying to get over the hurdle of saying Creedence Clearwater. My mouth and tongue didn't want to do those words together.
The tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, the lips, and the teeth.
Yeah, Marcy, that's there's a lot of emotion in that, and I hope
Oh, man.
you're able to get over this as quickly as possible while also cherishing the memory and realizing that there's not suffering happening anymore, which is kind of the most important thing. I would hope, but
Mhm.
yeah, maybe he'll catch up with Gene Hackman in line out there.
Yeah, it's true. They're probably rubbing elbows right now,
Mm.
and that does make me want to watch kind of more of the Leone classics. I could use The Good, the Bad, the Ugly again, but hell yeah, it sounds like he was a man of great taste. Definitely with the band and CCR. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, you got to carry that
There needs
weight.
to-
Like that's just
Yeah,
Good-
there needs
good-
to be more
yeah.
Levon Helm in everyone's life. But
Mm. Mm.
hell yeah, you're definitely in our thoughts, Marcy.
Indeed.
Seriously, man.
Yeah. So, I how to pivot. I don't think
Do we want to do a spoilers on
I haven't seen it.
Thunderbolts, or do we want to kind of keep it light?
I haven't seen it.
I missed that.
Well, we
missed that,
spoiled
okay.
enough
If you-
with
yeah.
the new title. One little spoiler, but that's a marketing choice.
I think
Chewbacca shows up eventually, but you already knew that.
I think in like the last 5 years, considering that Marvel's missed a whole lot, I would say they missed more than they've hit in the last 5 years. Is
True.
this top 5 of the most recent chunk?
Yes.
Sadly, I'd say yes.
Sadly
Based
doesn't-
on what were the last 5,
So Captain America,
but
I don't know. Do you count the
Marvel.
Sony ones? All the
I
Spider-Man's
wouldn't.
villains?
No.
if you're doing that, then I think even then probably still top 5. But I did enjoy it more than the Captain Marvel, the Marvels one, more than Eternals. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's got more of like one of those team aspects
Yeah.
that they lead to more of the fun popcorn movie as opposed to like, what the hell am I watching and why am I watching this?
Yeah, there's the Quantum Verse
Sorry.
movies, the Doctor Strange, the Adamant, the Ant-Man.
The Adamant movie.
There's not many that jump out to me.
Reboot we need.
I might even say top 3. I don't know how many that I
It
can.
might be
The only
if you're.
posts- Go ahead.
I was gonna say if you make me choose like my favorite teams, I don't think this one's up there quite yet. But man, kind of thinking back on those movies, yeah, sadly I think it might be. Which is not saying a ton, but you know, they're backed from the bottom.
Yeah, so it's a low bar to clear, and they did it. They stepped over the bar that was on the ground.
They're a little
For
hot.
me, yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, the only post Endgame I've enjoyed have been like Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, this, and a couple of the shows. Oh, and Spider-Man. So it's in the I guess the top 4 of the movies. Like I did like Eternals, but not that much. I don't know. I think the 2 lead Eternals were the most boring characters in the entire movie, and it was kind of insane that they focused on the. But yeah, I'd say this is top 4. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, the more I
Of the-
think about it, the more that's not even like that's not much of anything. I mean, I've
It's not.
had
I feel like I'm giving it more praise than it's worth, but yes, it is there for me.
yeah. So if
I mean, if you bring in like Loki or WandaVision, then it starts, dropping down to like probably like 6th or 7th place. But it's
AJ, yeah, Guardians
Mm.
3 is probably the one I would probably
oh
consider the trophy of the last 5 years as far as Marvel's concerned. But even then,
Yeah.
like I had to be reminded of it. So like I don't know what the hell
Yeah.
that means. So I don't think
I would agree with that too.
so. Marvel's been around as we know it right now for over 15 years. And I think
17. Yeah.
I think for the first time in a while, they need to win people back. Like 74 million is a hell of a success, all things considered. But it's not just throw the word Marvel over a title and expect to cross 100 million anymore. I don't know what
Yeah.
this says for Fantastic Four, because I finally saw a trailer for that, and I don't know. I just can't help but think every every Fantastic Four movie is just destined to not impress me. It just feels so.
Really? Not even the Roger Corman one or Harvey, Corman, whichever Corman one.
That one most
man.
especially. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I don't know.
I think they're doing something kind of fun and kind of retro with it. To be honest, that's the thing that I've been the most excited for in Marvel since I heard Pascal's in it, and I was like, I don't know, this dude's in everything. I wasn't super excited about it. Heard who they got for Flame On. I don't hate Joseph Quinn, but I wasn't super excited when I heard that he's the one who's going to be, Flame On. But once I heard that they got Eben Moss Bacharach as the Thing, man, I've got my interest peaked. And just the way that they're kind of going about a few of these things, I don't know, man. I think they might finally have me. But I understand what you're saying. I haven't truly loved like the Alba versions, and then I didn't like Fan Four Stick. I've got this weird thing for that Corman version, though. For some reason, that one, I love it, but I understand it's horrible.
The rest of society doesn't, Gray.
I gotcha. It was just for rights.
Marcy, thankfully I've owned and inherited a lot of my parents' music taste. I also love 70s, 80s music. They are even tired of me liking 50s and 60s music. Well, right on. That's a nice way to carry the torch.
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
Lindsey,
Way to know your history.
so, apologies. Lindsey,
Again.
considering that, I guess this is an easier question to ask next weekend. But Marvel has that opening weekend thing. Like even the Marvels, as unsuccessful as it is, it did well its opening weekend. The people that were going to see it seemed to see it opening weekend, and then it just like a lead balloon collapsed. And it's Marvel as a whole has been doing less and less strong. And the year that comes up is a little packed, a little stuffy. And Sinners is kind of a testament to
Gotta blow
that.
its nose.
One more time.
You said it's stuffy. It's got to blow its nose.
I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be the movie to do that. I think a lot more people are kind of like, I'll just wait than they were 10 years ago. Do you agree with that, Lindsey?
But we're seeing with Sinners though that like when something's like really getting hyped up, people will go see it.
Mhm.
I wish it could have happened for Furiosa because everyone was loving that, but no one's going to go see Furiosa, and I'm never going to live that down. But when things get good buzz, people do seem to go see them. Or as rare as that might be, some of the times these days. And I don't know if Fantastic Four is the movie to break the mold or the track record that Marvel's had the last few years, especially because maybe it's just me, but it feels like the ending is really obvious. I feel like we all know exactly how that movie's going to end. But it still looks great. I enjoy the cast. I love what's his name from Stranger Things. I know you're not crazy about being Johnny Torch, but it does feel like weird casting once I realized it was him. But I don't know, that dude stole my heart in Stranger Things as the best DM I've ever seen on screen. So I'm interested to see what he does. Even if he's not my preferred casting. Have you noticed his blue eye contacts
You got
too?
a
By the
direct
way,
message from him?
I did actually. Yeah. No.
I
Yeah. Every
also
time
have
he
noticed his eyes. I agree with you, Lindsay. Hmm.
a little distracting. Maybe it's supposed to be, but it's a little
Can you
distracting.
guys not
Have you noticed that's
objectify
supposed
these
to be?
people, please? They're humans.
Are they? They're actors. Come on.
Yeah. So the year upcoming, I'm looking at the release dates: Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning and Lilo and Stitch Fighting It Out on May 23rd. Ballerina, which is an offshoot from John Wick, coming out on June 6th. How to Train Your Dragon, which the live action adaptation of the cartoon movie, the animated movie, on the 13th. F1, which I have little interest in, but Brad Pitt, and it looks, the way it's shot is unique and appealing to a certain regard.
It's
That
expensive, though.
sure,
I mean,
sure.
they spent a lot of money on it,
And
supposedly.
money spent usually means success. If I've learned anything from Hollywood in the
yeah.
last 2 or 3 years, Jurassic World Rebirth, July 2nd, that will make $1 billion, even if it's the worldwide taking it on by themselves. Superman, July 11th, and Fantastic Four, July 25th. I guess my point being, the pressure's on Superman at this point, but I feel like if Superman is
Mhm.
the hit Warner needs it to be, it's not going to be as much a slam dunk for Fantastic Four 2 weeks later. Like if they're having a hard time with this third week of Sinners, I can't help but think, I don't know. I don't know if Pedro Pascal can carry a movie like that, because he was in Wonder Woman 84. Well, was he what he is now by then?
No.
Mhm.
People probably recognized him. It was post Game of Thrones, but he was not the star that he is today in everything.
He was
That was
Mandalorian.
kind of the start of it.
Mandalorian without
True.
It was
the
already
mask off.
Mandalorian. Yeah.
He wasn't Last of Us yet. So, and he's not Last of Us
I
now.
don't think people are going just be spoilers. I don't know if people are going just because of Pedro Pascal, though. You're kind of going for Fantastic Four, and then this is kind of rebooting everything. Of course, having the big stars in there doesn't hurt, but I don't know. Did you go to any of the previous? I'm trying to remember who any of the actors were. I definitely didn't go to the Jessica Alba ones because of either Jessica Alba or like Chris Evans.
That's fair. But neither did anyone else.
True. Well, the first Jessica Alba one, people went to that.
Sure. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this. Like if this were 7 years ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, 150 million opening weekend, easy. But it just seems like every time they adjust for the after COVID audience, and these movies they keep missing their adjusted expectations, and I don't know. For
Well, that definitely has to do with the fact that so many people just wish it ended after Endgame.
preach.
Like, I mean, just like, can we just do something else? Like, even some of the later Friday the 13th movies weren't making that much money, right?
Slow
Like,
down.
sorry,
Don't,
sorry,
don't go
I mean,
spitting
Jason
in my
X was pretty awesome.
don't go spitting in my house.
dude,
No,
you know I agree about Jason X.
I don't think
Uh,
we're on the same level here. Friday the 13th was very very popularly so. A cash grab and tired. Um,
Yeah,
I
sure,
mean,
yeah,
I don't
sure,
know that you
sure.
couldn't say that about Marvel though. Like, is it not a
No.
tired cash grab at this
yes,
point?
yes, you can. I just feel like it's not gliding on its recent past anymore. Like it just felt like we're barreling towards Endgame. I've got to watch all the Marvel stuff because water cooler talk on Monday. I need to be in and know everything that's going on. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think more and more people are like, you know what, fuck it. Go ahead, talk about it. I don't care.
I think you're right. I think, and the chat even said it a while back that like people are kind of over it right now. And you're right. There's been a lot of shows that didn't go super well. It doesn't seem like the goodwill is in the favor of Marvel. But I don't think they have to glide like you're saying, Charles. I think they've got a rocket ship this time. So
Ooh,
they're going to do a little bit better. What can I say? I had no interest in watching another Fantastic Four, but kind of seeing what they're doing with this, how they're doing like that retro look, and they're actually kind of going for something, even including whatever that dumb robot's name is. I forget, but
C-3PO?
Herbie, Herbie.
sure, let's go with that.
The love
I don't know. They piqued my interest. I'm actually somewhat excited for this one, and I totally wasn't at this point last year. So I don't know, man. I think they might be getting a little something back, but we'll see. They've got a little bit more goodwill after this for me.
I see. I think it's
I'm
weird.
definitely down for the. Oh, go ahead.
Go on, Lindsay.
I'm down for the future, the retrofuturism. I'm down for the cast, especially Ben Grimm and Galactus. Like those two alone sold me on this movie. Like whether or not it'll work out, or be like the cash grab that they want, or the thing that's going to let them kind of anchor the universes. Now we'll see about that. But I do want to hear that guy as Galactus. That's got me excited.
I can't help I feel like gimmicks aren't going to be good enough to pull people in. Like retrofuturism, people are going to drop $80, to go out and see retrofuturism. I feel like it's funny. Thunderbolts is a movie that's coded about depression, and you have from the trailer, Superman appears to be this classic Superman hope thing, directed by a guy who's made fun superhero movies. What happens if we've had a role reversal with DC and Marvel, where DC in the mid 2010s, just everything was gray and miserable and just fucking ugh.
Based.
It's just like, oh yeah, Superman, miserable, cloudy days when I think of Superman. I think go on, Greg.
Can't think they're going that dark with this one, but there's going to be notes of it. Like you got that from the one thing where he's putting on his boots, he looks really depressed, and then there's like a war outside, and there's been a couple leaks that perhaps the public might turn on him or something. So I don't know. I think we're going to get notes of it, but I think it's going to be handled a little bit better. I have some faith in Gunn, so I don't think we're going full there, but yeah, fair enough. This film was Thunderbolts was really gray. They literally put like a gray filter over it. So you might have a point. I didn't actually think about, hey, have they kind of switched? But I think they have. Interesting.
I think
That's kind of a funny note. Yeah.
I think it the times, like society tends to want to escape. When we were doing all right, we kind of wanted to have a bit of grim, realistic stuff. Like Spider-Man, right after 9/11, was very, very hopey and colorful, and yay, just imagine if Spider-Man could wrap a spider web around the World Trade Center, and oh, we could be so much better right now. I feel like with things the way they are right now in the world, without getting too deep into real life, I think people want to not think about dismal shit, and I think Superman will have that same effect the way Spider-Man. I mean, if done well, of course. If done right, I think there's this, all right, I want to turn my head off. I don't want to be reminded of what the hell's going on. And here's this guy in a cape that's going to save the day. Oh, what a nice thought.
If they capture it correctly, there should be that sense of hope that kind of comes with Superman. So
Yeah.
I think you got a point there. And again, with the red and blue, you've got away with colors, sir. But yeah, I can see that comparison too. Perhaps it is just what we need.
I think that retrofuturism with just going on what I saw in the trailer, which it just feels, you could change the title and be like, oh, that's the new Marvel thing. Like there's nothing about it that's like, yes, retrofuturism. Oh, it's like the 60s, but it's the future in the 60s. So man, they got the pastel blues and it's like the Jetsons home. Aren't you ready to drop $20 on a ticket like right now? I don't think they can
kind of. I hear your point with the Thunderbolts, and I think people are gonna wait on that. I don't know if it's gonna be big, but man, I think Fantastic Four is gonna be big. I could be wrong, but there's buzz about it.
I don't think it won't be big. I just don't think it's going to be Marvel summertime blockbuster big. I think those days are over, and you're gonna have to, like, the fact that they did this trick with Thunderbolts, and I don't know if it's a trick or what, but to change the title to kind of like bait people into going for second weekend stuff that's not Marvel. That's Sony Pictures shit right there. That's, oh, people are talking about it on Twitter. Let's re-release it. Like these are rookie mistakes.
I feel like the name
You're not
change was
wrong.
always kind of part of the equation. I just feel like they didn't intend to do it before the first weekend was over. I think that it happened quicker than they initially intended for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But but the fact that they did resort to that is kind of, cynical and cloying. And again, nobody, like I said off camera, no one who works for, only people who work for Disney are going to call this New Avengers. And everyone else is just going to call it Thunderbolts.
Shit, I had a thought. I forgot.
I am super excited for Superman, though. The fact that like they have that moment in the trailer where they're just like, everyone's just, it's like a whole crowd just cheering Superman, Superman. That gives me flashbacks to Spider-Man that you keep talking about, like at the end of the movie. Like, hey, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. You Spider-Man's New York unity and all that. And don't hate me for my horrible accent. I'm sorry.
I'm offended. No, yeah, inspiring. Like when you watch the Zack Snyder Superman, where it's just like gray skies and just got a sea of hands reaching over him, and just like, what is this?
Also, Crypto's adorable. I can't wait for Crypto.
Oh, the dog. Yeah, see, like you get to Instagram mommies going to watch a stupid fucking movie with a dog in it. If things aren't going well, and I don't even know if this is the case, would Fantastic Four First Steps assumingly have a large name as something of a reveal towards the end of that movie? An actor that we know as a different Marvel character for a very long time, that, in case you don't know, I'm not going to, spoil it, but someone's coming back, a very high profile name. Is it safe to assume?
So.
Say it. Don Cheadle's coming back.
Finally, it's about time. I think so. If it's not that one, it's got to be one of the next couple. I don't think they would actually wait till the one that's announced, but I could be wrong.
I just think
I have a feeling the plot for this one's going to be actually very similar to the 2007 Silver Surfer Fantastic Four movie, where it's the Fantastic Four teaming up with a not nice person to stop Big Space Galactic Man. Well, I could be wrong about that.
Why do they have to DEI the stupid surfer? Like, why does it have to be a girl?
Wow.
Well, I think that's a hint for a plot point. I don't know if we want to go into the spoilers. That ties into my theory about how I'm like 90% sure I know how this movie ends.
It's DEI. She turns into a he.
I mean, do you want me to say it? Like,
I mean, it's speculation. It's not a spoiler. Have you seen it? Unless you've seen it.
No, I've not seen it. No, I'm pretty sure the movie's going to end with Earth getting blown up and the Fantastic Four going from a different universe to the MCU universe. And so the reason why it's a lady Silver Surfer is because it's a different universe. So when Galactus shows up in the main MCU, he's going to be a dude, or at least that's kind of how I'm reading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very uplifting. The Earth blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
fits into the doom and gloom. Doom. Sorry.
Doom. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think everyone knows it has to be a different universe or whatever. Like it's a complete different timeline, and somehow they get put into this timeline. So I don't think that's that much of a spoiler. I think there's a lot of speculation that something like that's got to happen. At least if something bad doesn't happen to that, at least they somehow get thrown into a different universe, much like now I can't even think of her name, Monica Rambeau from Marvels. So I don't know.
Or maybe
but somehow they're going to tie it all together.
One more time?
Yeah, it could be.
What was that, Lindsey?
Maybe the Fantastic Four come to the MCU universe looking for help against Galactic Big Spaceman.
But it's 60 years ago.
Well, in their universe, but in ours, it's
So they're gonna go sideways but forwards. They're gonna go northwest in their time travel.
I mean,
it's a north by north
direction.
Reference.
I don't know. I'm tired, but I won't lie. That idea kind of intrigued me, but again, the world blowing up seems depressing. Yeah.
So you could be right again with your other theory that Marvel and DC are kind of switching places.
That's very true.
As long as one of them knows how, as long as one of them's doing it effectively and making decent movies, I guess it's all right. But I just think expecting the public to just pour into your movie because cape shit, I don't think that's the case anymore.
I don't think so, and that's why I think you might be right that we might get a very special cameo in this next one, but we'll see.
And if we do, how soon before they spoil that? Where it's just like we only made $50 million on day one. We better have this weird teaser.
It could be by the end of that first weekend to get the second weekend. It looked like almost each one of those movies that you had up had about 2 weeks in between these big ones. And there's a couple that were kind of left off of there, but they are the smaller big ones, like 28 years later. Things like that, they may be able to be kind of like a Sinners.
28 years later isn't that?
It's June 20th. So it's in between How to Train Your Dragon and F1.
I don't know why I don't have that on there. That's interesting.
It's going to be a smaller one. It's not going to be as big as either of those.
Yeah, someone brought up
assume
a Karate Kid in the chat. I thought that was a Netflix movie, wasn't it?
No. So they are done with the Netflix show now. Now it's going to end in a movie. So it's going to be a real one. I'm assuming because you have the OG fans and then the new ones, and supposedly they might even have some cameos. So I'm thinking it's going to be pretty big, but I don't know if it's going to be like a Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon.
I don't think the Karate Kid audience is as box office faithful as people would like to assume. I mean,
first season of Cobra Kai, though, it was amazing, and it was kind of an event. A lot of people have followed them,
but you didn't
from
have to leave your
YouTube
home.
to Netflix.
You didn't have to leave your home to watch it. I mean, I'm not doubting. Like, it could be a big deal, sure, but for something like that, a $50 million opening weekend, a $75 million opening weekend, pretty big deal for relatively speaking. That's a big deal, but competing with something like Superman, if Karate Kid is beating Superman, oh man, someone at Warner's getting fired. I just
Yeah, I don't think there's any shot at that, but it might be a little bit bigger than you anticipate.
Yeah, that's like me saying, "Oh, the new Jason movie's coming out to compete with Superman. Look out, Superman!" Like, I get it. It's a big deal to me, and like in a certain pocket of the community. 50 million is an extremely strong weekend for something like a Jason movie, which there's none announced. But there's tiers, and I don't think Karate Kid is S. I don't know if I would even say it's A tier as far as money makers are concerned. But
okay.
Mission Impossible is an S. Superman S.
Oh, for sure.
Marvel when they're on their game, A or S. Karate Kid B, A maybe.
Yeah, I think I'd go somewhere around there. I think it's got, with all the seasons that it's did both through YouTube and Netflix, I think it's got an audience. Plus, you've got the original Karate Kid audience, and I think they're bringing back actors. From what I hear, this one's got Jackie Chan in it. So wasn't he the previous?
Yeah,
the
the
new
remake that
iteration
doesn't
of-
matter.
Yeah. So I
like
think you're
that
going to have a bunch of different versions into this. I think it'll do better than nothing, but you're right. Nobody's had to actually like go out and get it. I guess initially you had to have YouTube Red. I think that's what got me to sign up for it.
Oh,
initially.
right. Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
like I'm not trying to say that, it's not a good franchise, it's not a strong. I'm just saying, it's a big fish in a little pond. Is that it? I don't mean to take slight. I know Cody's a big someone's going to run back and tell Cody, he's talking shit about Karate Kid, go get him.
Well, I think it's so the other one that I've heard a little bit of buzz about that wasn't on your list, Naked Gun. So that's going to be August 1st. I can't see that having like any sort of waves. Or
I
what.
purposely
I
left
think
that off.
Spoof. Ooh. I don't think from everything that I've seen in the last little while, I don't see spoofs making it. So I think that would be much lower, like C tier, possibly D tier. But
Sure. Yeah, like
we'll see. I noticed you put Freakier Friday on there though. Anticipation?
I don't know. Like it's like the last gasp as far as summer's concerned, as far as recognizable titles. Everything up there, with the exception of Ballerina, F1. Although I don't even know. Like I don't know how to gauge F1. Ballerina, F1, and Freakier Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if those movies made $1 billion. Mission Impossible, I feel like it's going to make $1 billion. Lilo and Stitch, family movie. I would not be surprised if it makes $1 billion. How to Train Your Dragon, family movie. Wouldn't be surprised if it made $1 billion. Jurassic World Rebirth, I would bank on it making $1 billion. Superman,
For sure.
it's about time, guys. Time to make your $1 billion movie.
It's the one I'm banking on this year. For me, it's essentially like the Deadpool Wolverine of this year. Like it's the one that, like, if I was going to go all in on one, that's the one that I'm thinking is going to make the most. But maybe I'm wrong. I've heard a bunch of buzz towards F1. At one point, it was apparently erroneously reported that it's the most expensive movie ever or something. So I don't know. I heard some buzz about what they're doing with that and how they're kind of capturing it, that it's an experience. You're going to want to go see it. I got a little bit of interest in it.
Lindsey, I'm kind of talking to you on the spot about this, but something that I'm noticing more and more is budgets are like ballooning. We're crossing $250 million budgets. Is there a chance that a lot of these movies with these super large budgets are doing Hollywood accounting? Because a lot of these studios that are just pissing money away usually have some sort of streaming platform to dump something on, like Netflix in particular. But you think of Warner, you think of Disney. These studios can bury some of what they're like. I don't want to call it money laundering, but it feels like
It's money laundering.
it feels like it could be money laundering. Like the fact that Netflix dumped 320 in something and like didn't make a fuss about it. Like I looked at its stock price after that, didn't take a hit. $1,000.
Stranger Things, yo.
One more time.
Stranger Things, yo. Squid Game. No one gives a no. Who cares if one movie doesn't do very well? They got other stuff.
Yeah, $1,000 a share
Big
is a
chunk to drop on it, though.
yeah. And the other thing is, when you're something like Netflix, something like Disney Plus, you're playing something for the world, and I don't know if you have to advertise the way you would for a theater. If you're like streaming right into someone's home, could it be money laundering by another name, or is it something that it actually? I mean, not that we know what they're making on the back end of the streaming stuff. Is it something that pays for itself somehow? Because I know Netflix does commercials now. I think Disney switched over to that too. Like I know Warner for Max, which isn't available in Europe. Thanks guys. Oh, not available in the UK. Pardon. I know they're doing these commercial things. So I know that like sports stuff. If you they pay a ton of money to play like the Super Bowl or basketball playoffs or whatever. But it's all in the commercials and stuff that they make all that back. So, Lindsey, is there a chance that their money's making sense?
It's money dry cleaning.
Sure.
And it's not money laundering. It's money dry cleaning when it's a streaming service. But well, a couple of quick a quick dirty equation I just threw in right now, and it's a very dirty girl. The number of current subs for Netflix worldwide is 301.6 million. The average, not everyone pays this, but the average cost per month for Netflix for those 301.6 million peoples is $7.99. And if you do some little multiplicities with that, that comes out to almost $2.5 billion a month. So Netflix has that infinite money glitch, and they can make a $300 million movie a month and more or less be okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
It's kind of the next story we're getting into, but a good portion of the stuff that they kind of fill out the platform with is not necessarily American content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's going to affect them in the near future.
Hold that thought. I'll try my best to segue right into it, but I can't, like that. Hearing that makes me think. Okay, they need to show that they're putting money somewhere. Because I don't mean to pick on a movie that has just been obliterated in the it's already out of the conversation. But the Electric State, like,
is it ever in the conversation?
Well, just to talk about how much it cost. That's all people are talking about. And I watched it. I'm like, it's not terrible, but I don't see $320 million on that screen. There are a lot of producers, there are a lot of executive producers on lots of things. And because they don't have to show what they're making, does it help that they find a way to show that they're losing money? Because it's that Hollywood math where it's just like, Harry Potter, we didn't break even. Sorry, we can't pay you. Wait, what? You have 15 producers on this.
Well, what was the Order of the Phoenix's box office total? $1 billion and it lost 164 million somehow.
Yeah.
Money dry cleaning.
A lot of coffee that was being drunk on set.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe's coffee budget alone each day is $12 billion. So just how are they supposed to just break even on that alone?
I would almost try to buy a share of Netflix for whatever it is, $1,000 a share, just to be in on the investors call.
Part of the game.
Yeah, but something doesn't make sense that there are these inflated budgets. It seems like the only people that are like making a big deal of it is people like us and the internet making a big fuss over. They spent $250 million and it didn't make it back, and there isn't like a ripple. Like, it does not matter. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I can't help but think of John Carter. They spent that amount 10 years ago, and it didn't do well.
Or like 15 years ago now? When did it come out?
2012. And that was a big deal. Like, oh, shit, they're in trouble. They rushed to re-release it, it was a rare instance where Disney was like, just get it on home video. Fuck it. And that's not the case anymore. And I think it's funny because more often than not, these financial failures seem to happen with studios that have a safety net, a streaming service. And I don't know, the theater industry, you brought up a number recently about inflation, the fact that Thunderbolts is one of the worst opening performances with inflation. Like, I have the Eternals made $3 million less, and that was just, what, 2022, 21?
Yeah, but those were $21.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
just saying.
that is alarming.
It is.
Like, if 74 million is for Marvel in the modern theater industry, how are they doing? Because they don't have a streaming service.
Well, I mean, they got Disney Plus, so I don't know.
Eventually,
But yeah,
No, I'm
is
not.
kind of interesting.
Excuse me, Greg. Not Disney. AMC, Cinemark. Like, how are they
sorry,
doing?
I thought you were saying, ooh. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm assuming things are going to have to change, especially with kind of the next story. I think like everything.
How many buckets do you have, Greg? Because that appears to be the answer.
Not enough. I've got the Dune bucket, and then I was hoping to get the Thunderbolt bucket, but I couldn't find any at my theater. The buckets have been lacking this year.
Preach. Yeah, the
they haven't
bucket
been
game
great,
is
yeah.
stinky. What happened to the bucket game? Come on, guys. It's like,
Upset I didn't get that Alien Romulus one.
cheap plastic. All right, so I guess we'll transition right into the news. Apologies if you don't want to hear like real world stuff, but our television president decided to say something that very much affects the entertainment industry, although it's not really a thing just yet. It's more of a, I wonder what would happen if I did this. And it's kind of, I'll tell you, here in the UK, they're fucking pissed.
Yeah, I bet.
So
So many studios
surprised.
were kind of built, and man, there's so much going on. As the aforementioned, Mission Impossible one, most of that was shot there. It kind of makes you wonder when this goes into effect and what exactly it's going into.
So for those of you who
Back on.
don't know, Donald Trump announced that he wants to put a 100% tariff on films that are made outside the U.S. And a lot of the discussion from this side of the pond is, how would you even regulate that? How do you figure out, it's not a good. A film is not a good. It's a piece of art. I don't know if they tariff other types of art, but it's not like this.
Sure, there's art tariffs. Why not?
Is there? Are you making that up?
Yeah, why not?
Why not is not like, yes, that is a thing.
Well, you might get a tariff for importing art, but no, I don't think so. I've never heard of like an art show because they're bringing in foreign art, they get tariffed or anything like that.
Yeah.
With this, they're not even sure, like, is it the production company that gets the tariff? Is it the studio? Is it the theater? Like, who exactly is getting the tariff? And
Yeah.
there's just a lot of
Also,
questions
how do you-
right now.
Classify what country a movie comes from. Like James Bond is owned by two different American companies. So the next James Bond movie that gets made, is that a UK movie or is that an American movie?
So
Well, and it gets weirder than that too. Like, how does the breakdown go? If you just do post work outside of the U.S., is it still an American movie?
Yeah.
Like,
Good
what
question.
is the breakdown of any of this?
so Trump says movies need to be made in the U.S. And
Mhm.
it alarms me, because what I would feel would be a bit more, I don't know, common sense, a bit more constructive, would be any business that uses AI gets taxed. That feels to me like this is how we save workers. If you're going to make, like, you're going to have some company. I don't think this may affect Disney, Warner, people like that so much, but like A24, who already have dipped their toes in the AI waters, if they're going to get taxed, they'll just use an American AI company to do God knows what, and you're going to get people doing things in America to avoid that tariff, but they're also going to not pay American employees. Like, they're just going to circumvent everything there. Like, it just feels it feels like a lot of things that I hear from this fine 47th president's mouth. It just doesn't sound thought out. Like, there's no sort of path. Like, this is how it's going to work. This is like, here's who it's going to affect. So quick to get to the boring, really weird shit. Tariffs, like if I were to sell you this, if I were to ship you these cheese balls,
Cheese balls?
yeah,
Imported?
imported cheese balls.
Someone's got money.
Yeah. So this is a 1 pound bag of cheese balls here in the UK. I send it to you. If there's a 25% tariff, you're paying $1.25 for that, and that it doesn't change the cost of it here. It just gets tacked on to the consumer. It's taxed by another name. Like I don't know why there's so much fucking word salad about it, and I'm playing right into it. But 100% tariff. Where does it go? And does it happen at the theater? Does it happen at streaming? Is it everywhere? Because suddenly you're going to be paying what, $7.99? You said, Lindsey, the lowest Netflix thing is $7.99.
The average. Netflix,
So the
$7.99,
average will now be $15.99. Like, who the fuck is going to be okay with that?
Well, it could be the nail in the coffin for essentially
Theaters.
movie theaters. I don't know. I want to know how it's going to, I guess everybody does. There's a million questions, but I want to know how it breaks down. So if it's an American production company with, I guess, mostly American actors, but you're going on location, say like Gladiator, like you're actually going to go to like
Detroit.
Coliseum or something.
Detroit.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, does it now have to be Detroit? Do you have to go just outside of Vegas or something? Or if it's an American crew, American actors, American production, but it's filmed on location, does that now get 100% tariff?
So the other thing is that the reason that there's these alluring reasons to film in other places is tax incentives. Instead of taxing, instead of outwardly taxing, why not just have something that's an attractive rebate or something? It doesn't make sense to me, like why you would slap the hand that's trying to give you money. It just like
getting harder to do it. I mean, in television, who hasn't seen the Made in Georgia thing that just like appeared on the end of everything because they were giving really good tax incentives to actually bring your production to Georgia. Of course, you had to have that Made in Georgia thing at the end, but I don't know. It seemed to be working for quite a while, but the UK really caught on to it. And man, did the British make some really amazing studios that, they actually brought the infrastructure there, and it's getting a lot of people going to. And Ireland has this amazing. I can't remember exactly what their incentive program is, but it seems to be very enticing.
right.
I don't know. That just
what's the
seems...
studio in England called? Where they shoot Star Wars in Pinewood Studios, like some of the
Yeah,
biggest
that's
like
London.
American productions.
A lot.
London, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. As a New Yorker, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Vancouver double as my glorious hometown. Like
Toronto, come on, you can branch out. But now you won't see that anymore. Now you're going to have to see like, I don't know what.
Seattle?
I guess the aforementioned Detroit will be or something.
I
don't know.
In the early 2010s, Pittsburgh was like Dark Knight. Pittsburgh doubled for Gotham, which also doubled for New York. I don't understand. So someone who very famously said that he's smart because he gets around the tax loopholes. That's just what everyone else has done. They've figured out a way to draw people to do things where they are. I don't think this is the first right answer to get things done. Like I said, have more attractive tax benefits, or just do it at the federal level. Stop letting, I don't know what it means for the states like Georgia, Pennsylvania, like why they would do that. Hollywood's hurting. But have it be a federal thing where it's like, all right, if you have a 100% American crew, you get a tax break or something. Why punish it? Like, it seems like it's just going to affect the mid to low budget, the independent stuff. Like, yeah, I get it. You don't want something like Parasite to make the same amount of money as, I don't know, Civil War. But
why not, though? Man, like it was such a good film. I'm trying to think of like
Was.
a lot more that were that year, and man, there's a reason why it made so much that year. But
Struck a chord.
it's so it seems like this would just be step one, right? Like, if not, sorry, at first I thought Dice was talking about me, the talking toupee. I realized that was not aimed towards me, but fair enough. Um, so, yeah, sorry, this is like step one though. So right now they're just talking about movies, but wouldn't you want to take advantage of that and just say, okay, instead of being a feature, we're now going to make this, a show or whatever, instead of going 2 hours. Now we're going to stretch this to like 6 or something, call it a series. Um, I don't know. I'm assuming that would be the next step. And then once they get into television, I don't know. Like, I think Prime did their studio that like a Wheel of Time and a couple other shows are filming at. Like they all of these different streamers kind of invested in studios in very different countries. Like this is really gonna change a lot
Yeah,
as far as production.
it's not well thought out because in the industry, if you're releasing a movie, you have the theater run first, and then you have the home VOD and streaming services run. Is it going to be a thing where wherever you play the thing publicly, you get tariff? Like, okay, you're going to the theaters 100% tariff. Oh, you're trying to go to streaming now, 100% tariff. Is it possible that someone who wants to see the same movie twice would end up paying 3 times as much because they're getting tariffed twice on the view at the theater and then the view at home? Does the same piece of
Right,
media?
But can you see any foreign film wanting to release anything in the
No.
US if it's literally
No.
100%
No.
tariff? Like I think that just cuts that off completely. And then I don't know. Do we
Have they
then
said what
essentially
100%
cut
is-
off?
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, do we essentially cut off the worldwide box office for much of our films? Because if it premieres somewhere else, is that now going to be tariffed?
It's
know.
weird because
We
like
also know what they mean by the tariffs. Is it the budget? Is it the distribution costs? Is it a new thing they're just going to invent? Is it the advertising costs? Like, what specific figure are they tying the tariff to? Has anything been said about that?
yeah,
Supposedly budget, but it's still unclear.
yeah. So Cannes is
Wow.
in
Oof.
Cannes is in a week or two in France.
Okay.
That's where a lot of movies get bought. So would there be like an import tariff? Like, let's just say I had a couple $100 million and I buy something that premieres at Cannes. If I want to bring it to the US, do I now have to pay 100% of what I paid? Because that's ridiculous. That's how it works.
Kind of seems like that as of the information we have right now. It kind of seems like
Lindsey, I asked you for information, and I didn't have much time to look through it, but some interesting numbers I saw on there were the amount of films that may not have 100% American crew, but a lot of them have a mixture of like Canadian, British. I think the stat that I saw was of the top 100 films in the last 5 years, 1 in 5 have had filming in the UK, and 1 in 4 have had filming in Canada. Like,
Yeah.
if this goes
That
through,
sounds right. Yeah.
we're like, this is going to be a big deal.
Here's
also
another
gonna-
interesting figure. Oh, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, like, with the visual effects work and then also
Oh, yeah.
animation, man, that's going to kill all that. Like, none of that. I shouldn't say none of that. A small fraction of that is done in the US. So, man, if they're including just any portion of it, wow, that's
Chat
going to really cut down all that.
Chat GPT presents Toy Story 6. Sorry, Lindsay.
Don't even say that. No, these are all things that need to be brought up that the government's definitely not thinking about. Like in that same article that I sent you, they put there's one very fascinating thing that led me to go read a little bit of another article. On average, movies are shot in 1.6 countries, and the breakdown of that is just under 2/3 of films are shot in one country, 23% are shot in 2 countries, and 12% are shot in 3 countries. So how do you break that down? And then the other little things like I think it's Fate of the Furious. They dragged poor Tyrese Gibson out onto like the glacier to shoot a single scene for like an hour. Is that no longer in American production because they probably they probably hired local Norwegian or whatever Iceland is crew in order to do that. And like, how does that affect
It's
things?
very,
Like,
it's
What about the one where they went to space? I'm just saying.
space tariffs are the worst, man. Let's not even get into those. Like, that's like a 5,000% tariff. Like,
it's very convoluted because if you make it that, okay, we're going to go film in Rome, but we're going to have nothing but Americans on the crew, does it matter that, 100% of your crew is American? Like, you could not hire more Americans for this thing. And if that's okay, how does Rome feel about that? Were they going to be like, yeah, just come here, film, leave your shit wherever you want, and have a good time? I don't think, like, I just think it spotlights something that this guy, do we still think he's a good businessman? I'm sorry, enough's enough.
I guess it's going to depend how they break this down, but so far I'm not thinking it's a great business move, but I get the intention behind it, make America strong with movies, but man, what about like second unit stuff? Like, would it still be so if you just send your second unit to go film at the iceberg or whatever, and then you just blue screen them onto it, does that count as an international production now? Like, if you just buy footage from Iceland or something, is this still a U.S. production? I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of weird things that I can see to try and get around it, but I don't know if any of it's going to work. It really depends on how they're going to break this down.
Here's a fun question. A Korean studio wants to shoot a movie in America, and it's entirely funded by Korean money, but the crew is entirely American, but the cast and the director are Korean. Is it an American movie or is it a Korean movie?
Well, you took jobs away from Americans, so that's tariff.
But they technically brought them here too. So I don't know. Does it equal out? I don't know.
They won't make it past.
Does it have to be
customs.
51%
Sorry.
American? Yeah.
And somehow Saudi Arabia is going to not be affected by any of this. That's a terrible joke. I apologize.
It seems so weird to just be announced. I'm correct. This was announced through like what is it, Truth Social or whatever?
Yes.
Like, it wasn't like
Yeah.
So we don't have actual details of this, just
Isn't
that
that
it's going to
spectacular?
happen. And
That the leader of the free world
eminently,
just throws shit out on vibes, and we're just like, yeah, that's kind of scary. Cool, let's talk about it.
It's kind of fun, but at the same time,
I don't like fun.
This
is
probably
not
what I
fun.
would have voted for.
Again, to make it more enticing for people to film in the U.S., to hire U.S. employees, you would think you would just go further with tax benefits. Draw people in, not slap them on the hand for trying to succeed in a business. Like, that's kind of bullshit. Like, I'm the best in the world, but I have to pay twice as much for being good at your job.
Yeah, that does kind of seem like that. Sorry for speaking over you yet again. I suck at that. But yeah, it seems to be working like locally, like again, like the Made in Georgia things. It seems to be, incentives. Why not like a federal incentive or something like that? It just seems like, carrot rather than the stick. But
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, like show us that you're
detail. Oh, go ahead.
Go on, Lindsey.
A cute detail about the Made in Georgia thing. If you shoot something in Georgia, they'll give you a 20% tax thing. But then if you let them put the Georgia sticker on, the Made in Georgia, you get another 10%. So you get 20%, but if you put the sticker on your movie, you get 30%. Like,
hell yeah.
I'm curious to
Makes
know.
sense.
That's so cute.
I'm wondering, how much filming in a location, how much that is worth. Like, how much is a tax benefit worth? Because I could see some lunatic country being like, yeah, film here in Georgia, the country, and we'll give you an 80% tax benefit because fuck that tariff. And it's like, it just feels like this is bad. It just feels like this is bad for employees. I feel like people are going to circumvent it and use AI, or they're already crooked with their marketing, their accounting. It's either going to be them going even further to hide shit, or you're going to have this, you know, country or countries that have nothing to lose as far as like tax benefits are concerned, and they're just going to figure out a way around it, and it's just going to, I don't know, if like Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, they just offer a 300% tax break if you film there. Like we'll pay you. I mean, there's a town in Italy that's like paying you $50 to live there, which is that's wild.
Sorry.
I don't know. Is this just going to lead to like even more funky Hollywood math? Like,
yes,
I can't see how when they already have ways around paying things. You know, how is this going to affect them? Or is this just going to blow these huge budget movies out of the thing? Like, we're not going to see $300 million movies anymore.
Oh yeah, you might have some backroom shit where, you know, this film cost us $1 billion to make. Thank you, Tariffs. And I don't know how they're gonna figure out a way to not show that on paper. And it just feels like, what does Doge feel about this? Why couldn't they work on? It just feels like a lot of things are being said and nothing's really being shown to us to make the situation better.
What happens when you have a very impulsive man with power?
I love it.
I mean, it is new news, you know. You know, it's breaking. So
it's broken,
we'll
all right.
learn more in the near future, but it could break further.
Yeah.
You know, good times. I can't think that you would exempt TV, so I'm just assuming that would be next. And then what does this do? So the aforementioned kind of, you know, streaming platforms, Netflix, they have so much, specifically like in the US, there's so much Korean content, but how does like any of those Netflix animes break down? They're not exactly made in the US. Are those now foreign? What it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Is there a way that consumers will be able to just use a VPN and avoid paying for that tariff? Like, it just feels like you're giving people creative ways to avoid this, because it's Trump we're talking about. Like, he creatively figures out ways to avoid things. So like, he's just, I don't know, you bankrupted multiple casinos, sir. I don't trust you to save the film industry. If anything, this might be the nail in the coffin. For theaters, at least.
I think of theaters. Yeah. Sorry, I just was making that same distinction that you just made. Sorry for talking over you. Lindsey, you were saying something.
No, I was just going to make a dumb joke about how people like, okay, so Avatar, The Last Airbender, it's an American production made in the style, wanting to kind of ape Japanese anime styles, but it's animated in Korea. So it like, it like, well, it doesn't, I don't know. It's, yeah.
300% tariff. I don't know.
Yeah.
So how would that work if like another country wants to give us like a 300% tax credit? So if Marvel wants to make their $200 million movie in their country, do they just get $600 million from the country's government?
I mean, isn't that what happens with Saudi Arabia? That like that golfing thing, that the WWE goes there every now and again, and reluctantly.
I'm not a WWE guy. Yeah,
well, there are these things where, you know, these otherwise American sports companies, and I use the word sports a little loosely with WWE, but you know, they're drawn to do their thing in Saudi Arabia. The NFL has games in London every year. The NHL does something in France and Sweden. So there's some sort of draw as far as what these international countries are doing. Just getting through what this looks like to America, to the rest of the world, where you said it, what, Lindsey, 1.5 countries in every movie, average?
The average movie, as silly as it sounds, is shot in 1.6 country.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So for every 50 movies, there's two states. I just feel like this is going to send some really weird vibes, Like America is closed for business. That appears to be
Yeah.
what the message is. And I don't think American businesses are going to be like, okay, guys, the message is clear. We need to hire more Americans. No, they're going to be like, okay, fire up the Chat GPT and let's figure out a way to pay people off the books. Like, I don't think this is
Maybe
going to
that's what they
fix
want.
things.
And the whole point of the AI art is to democratize art and make the people be able to make the things that they want, right? Maybe this idea came from Elon Musk in some capacity, and Trump is just rolling with it because it sounded good to him for some reason. And I think they mentioned propaganda in the announcement. It's a way to try and combat that because
Yeah.
Hollywood is so leftoid and hates supposedly.
Well, in a way, I kind of understand the idea behind it. Like it's, make more of these jobs in America. Like, okay, that sounds kind of positive for the country. And I guess the whole idea of not getting propaganda in there, I guess I understand it. Like there's been a lot of people outraged that like posters have had to change for like international releases and stuff like that. And perhaps certain characters got cut down because of that. Fair enough. I can't help but think that there's incentives that you could give as opposed to tariffs, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Honestly, incentives sounds like the smart way to do this, man. I really think you're onto something with that there. Instead of punishing, reward. Maybe that's like, isn't that like how they say to do parenting these days? Am I wrong about that? Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong about that. But it's I don't know, but like again, like I said, it's what happens when you have an impulsive guy in power who likes to just say things for the sake of saying things, like, and then everyone else has to clean up the mess.
But like
It's not good.
the rest of the world is very
Mhm.
clearly reacting a certain way to this. Like
Oh, yeah.
Canada,
Oh yeah.
if you looked at the election from Canada, the Republicans were going to win as of March. And if you look at
Mhm.
like the chart, was it liberal? I don't know what their party affiliation is, but a non-Trump person won in Canada, and it was a lot of Canadians said, "I don't want someone like Trump in our office," and that is happening all over the place where people are just very clearly reacting specifically to him, and the more he talks, the more I don't know. I mean, it's something of a joke where if you're American visiting somewhere else, you tell people you're Canadian, but I don't think that's becoming a joke so much anymore, and it's kind of
No, it's kind of throwback. It's like a different time. I know I was traveling a bit internationally in the early 2000s, and that was kind of the way that they told you to travel.
Yeah.
Americans aren't loved right now. Say you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Get a little Canadian flag on anything you own.
Yeah. I this
Or a Simpsons joke about that.
like I don't know. I felt that art movies were this thing that everyone got to experience. Fucking movies are our best export. If America's good at anything, it's entertaining the rest of the world. Why would you sour the relationship with the rest of the world for this? Like, yeah, no, we'll give it to you. Don't be doing anything for us. That's just so weird.
A lot of production did switch out of the US, like specifically to the UK. They've gotten a lot of it. A lot of those studios have really been built up in kind of this infrastructure for filmmaking, which is awesome.
Sure. Why is that?
Because we were taxing the hell out of people and not giving those incentives where the other countries were offering it. So it's like, hell yeah, I get location and incentive.
But
let's do this.
Is that the international country's fault? It's not their fault.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be ours.
It's just like,
Entirely ours.
yeah, we're making things worse for our people. And if you make things better for them, we're going to charge you more because only we can make things worse for our people. Like twofold.
I mean, that's literally what happened with like everyone complaining about the price of eggs for 4 years, and now Trump's in office and everything's even more expensive now, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm happy to pay the money now." It's like,
Yeah,
really?
there's something that he's like, it's wild that he said something about, children needing less than $30. They need to, just put up with only having $2. Like it's his
You
weird.
said 2 or
God.
3. You're only going to reduce it to 1/10 the amount of dolls, but still,
Within a year,
yeah.
we went from things need to be cheaper to just put up with having less. Like,
if it's made in America, you only need 3. They're going to be such good quality, they will last a lot. Yeah, I don't know.
The fun
It does
quotient of American-made toys is so much higher than foreign-made toys.
yeah, I'm not sure exactly how this breaks down, especially when kind of the whole criticism of in the election is things cost too much. We need to be able to buy more things. The cost of goods went up.
yeah,
Where it seems like it seems like an about face, but maybe I'm wrong.
right.
There's like an irony in this to me too, where it's like America is like way too consumery. Like, if anything, we should cut back on some things a little bit. Maybe you don't need to go from $30 to 3, but to
I'm-
10 maybe. Like, we
I'm
should
sorry.
kind of be a little more frugal.
I'm sorry. The merch president is not the person to deliver that message. The guy who's got his own merch store is not the
Yeah,
guy.
no,
Sorry.
that's
Sorry,
fair.
no
That's
sale.
fair.
Forgive the
That's
pun.
fair. That's fair.
But importantly, if I think this is going to be like everything else, where he's going to hear that this is an atrocious idea, and I don't know. I love that he just fucking throws things out on the internet and is like, "What do you think about that? Oh, it sucks. Okay, never mind." I think this is going to happen with this, where we're going to find out. I mean, just for the sake of argument, if this were to become a thing, theaters are in trouble
Very much so.
because
They're already in trouble. Like, I think it was 3 episodes ago, you were giving like the breakdown for this year, and it's still
2.4
extremely
billion
low.
so far.
I can't imagine this helps anything, especially if it's implemented quickly. Like, man,
Yeah, I don't know of a New Yorker that's going to pay $40 for a ticket to something they were kind of wish-washy on. Like the theaters are in trouble. And the thing that I don't know about, I'm assuming, Lindsey, I don't know, what part of the flyover country you're in, Gray, but there's these small theaters that play things that don't get much talk, that it's kind of fun. Like over here, they were playing Dinner in America recently, which entirely slept on movie that if you can see it, if it's near you somewhere, check it out. It's 5 years old at this point, but really, really good comedy. Things
Great
like
Gallner.
Yes. I think those like little theaters and the mid to low budget independent films, they're going to go away with this type of stuff. Lindsey, there's stuff there in California, right? Like
The Lemley. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Lemley chain before, but the one in Pasadena closed, and it was one of the saddest days of my theater boy life. Like, I saw some of my favorite movies there. I saw a trailer for Snowpiercer online, and 20 minutes later, I was in my local Lemley watching it with 3 friends, and it was the best movie we saw that year. Like, we definitely need more of those, but there's just not the money for it, which is so sad. I guess that's like just speaking to American audiences and what was it? Seeing with my boy Bong. Like the barrier to entry for so many movies is 2 inches of text on the bottom of the screen.
yeah. Yeah, you're going to pay more for something.
Bong Joon-ho, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
I didn't make it up. Bong. Okay.
You're going to tell Americans that they need to pay more for something they didn't really want to see to begin with. I don't think that's going to work out too well. But
Totally interpreted your friend Bong differently. I just assumed that you had a friend who would not read subtitles, but fair enough. It took me a minute to get on board with you.
so to take it away from New York, someone in a flyover state like Gray there in New Oklahoma, South Dakota, Pittsburgh. The average ticket price is up to, we'll call it $12 for the sake of argument. A couple going to see a movie in New Oklahomasburg would be paying $24 a ticket. So that's $48, and let's say you get popcorn and a drink, you're paying $80 for a date night to the theater.
And
Are
that's
they
not
tariffing
including
my
like
popcorn?
No, but
Well, I mean,
popcorn's
they have
already
to.
that's
They've got to make it up somehow.
yeah. The theaters are
Do
already
you think all that popcorn is grown here? Come on.
corn with corn syrup.
So you've also got to get either like a sitter for the kids, parking. It's not just that $80. But yeah, sadly here we used to have a lot more kind of art house theaters, so you could see kind of some of the either foreign films or lesser distributed ones, not the big ones. But man, we're down to like one art house theater, and I think they've got like 6 screens, so it sucks. Other than that, it's just major releases, and I think that's what a lot of this is going to turn into. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming the majors could pivot to make a lot more in the U.S. to meet whatever requirements. So they don't get the 100% tariff, but man, any foreign film or the smaller ones, I don't think they could survive that. I'm assuming my art house theater is going to go by the wayside.
I think
it's just barely hanging on.
If anything, the black market will rise through all of this. If anything, it might be back to the high seas for those things. Lindsey, can you give us a comparison? Because something that I'm hearing about here a lot, because there's a new video game system coming out from Japan that the new price suggestion for video games for Nintendo Switch 2 is $80. And apparently tariffs are affecting what's happening with that moving forward, or their ability to create something like that.
Availability is definitely an issue. I'm not really a Nintendo guy.
But,
go ahead.
But how has the gaming industry taken to their prices being increased for their precious games?
Great. And a big thing that, at least my big question is, and I know what the answer is going to be, is so for years now they've been piecemealing so much of video games out. So you pay $60 for the game, but really you ultimately end up paying 80 or 90 in order to get the full experience. So if games are going to go up to $80, does that mean that they're going to stop with that crap? And they're not going to sell that, so or is it going to go to $90, $100, $110 in order to get all the DLC and the costume packs and the extra levels and the day one
That's
bonus and all that and all those types of things? I mean, I think we can all assume the answer is no.
Sure.
They're going to continue to milk it, but. I'm more of a computer gamer these days myself. I haven't had a console in a little bit, but all my console friends are definitely having the conversation of, even if I wanted to get a Switch, is it worth getting just because of how expensive it's all going to be? I'm going to have to rebuy all my games anyway, and all the games are going to be $80 instead of the $60 that I paid before, which is frustrating because older games should be cheaper, you think, but on the newer systems, they're going to be the same price as new games instead of taking into considering the fact that they're old. So there's a lot of negativity going around.
I just think that,
at least that's what I'm experiencing.
I think part of why he got reelected was, man, shit's expensive. I can't afford anything, and it's definitely the guy who's currently in office's fault. I don't agree with that. I just think we're not really fully recovered from COVID, but slowly but surely, what the president is doing is kind of making every pocket of the world aware. Like, if you're someone who I don't know, only drank soda,
there's few of those people. I mean, you're basically talking about no one.
You're slowly realizing that something has changed. If you only eat scrambled eggs, the beginning of this year, things have changed. I think the entertainment industry, fucking with movies, fucking with games, and people being like, wait, I thought things were supposed to be better. What's happening? And then they find out that, oh, the guy who said he was going to save everything is actually making it worse. Like, how many more communities of consumers get affected before it's just like, wait a minute, this is probably the worst thing of the choices that I could have had.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of news you're getting over in England, or what Gray's getting in West New Hampshire, the Oklahoma den. But what I see a lot is people like Janine Pirro going on the news and saying things like, look, if I have to pay extra money, I'm perfectly fine with that. If I need to lose my 401k, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Are you?
If I mean, that's what she's saying. And so, I mean, that's literally the talking point that they're putting forward. And wow, we're getting super political on show business here tonight. But that's literally the talking point that they're putting forward is just pay poorer, just pay more for the same thing, but getting less. Just deal with it. And that will somehow make America better. And are people buying it? I hope to God not. I don't understand how you can hear someone say, who cares about your 401k, and say, you know what? I agree. Who cares about my 401k? But they're trying it. So on some level, they has to be working,
Well,
which is disturbing.
I think it's the cult of personality, because I think if 8
Yeah.
months ago, just 8 months ago, if the president said, we're going to have to tighten our belts, the independent American spirit would be like, no, fuck that. I want what I want. I could do what I want. And suddenly now it's like, yeah, you know what? We probably need only $2 and 4 pencils, which I don't know what the.
What if
Why is it
really
4
good
pencils?
dolls?
That's such a sorry, go.
What if it's really good dolls, really good pencils, and these are the best movies you've ever seen? I'm just what if?
Well,
What
I
if?
don't know.
lead by example and have your little red hats made in America. Start with that. Your Make America Great Again hats should be made in America, not China. Just a suggestion.
I want to see the
Best
conversation
hats.
though of like, wait, I bought 8 of these MAGA hats and they were $50. Why is it $100 now? Tariffs. Also, why do you need 9 hats?
Merch president told you. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't like talking about politics, but it seems like if this thing is, you know, a possibility, we're going to be affected. And as much as I don't really have a bleeding heart for studios, I think the theater going experience is going to be a hell of a lot more rare in an instance like this, where I don't know, the fact that Revenge of the Sith did well last week as its limited run, like that's cool. I don't want, you know, a night at the movies to be something special that you save up for, and like, I don't know, it just feels.
Oh my God, is going to the movie theater going to be like going to the theater where it's like you have
Yeah.
to get all
It
dressed up?
might be. It might be. Perhaps it's going to be. You only get to see the 3 movies that are out per year, but it's going to be an experience. Yeah, I just kind of. I don't know. I don't disagree with everything that you guys are saying, but maybe it'll be all for the better, and we're just blowing this out of proportion. But I
Well,
don't
so
think so.
so sunny side disc, right? What is the best case scenario
I
for
like
this?
eggs. Well, the eggs seem to be going down in price. I don't know. I guess the idea is it would give more Americans jobs, so we might have more people in the U.S. in the film industry. I guess that's the sunny side for the Americans, but
Okay.
for everybody else, I can't think of a sunny side for this. It seems to be cutting down, like, the free flow of movies, which
Yeah.
I've really dug the last few years, where it seems like foreign films are at least considered a little bit more. Since
Sure.
Parasite, it feels like there has been some consideration, and some of the shows as well. Squid Game is awesome. It at least really came into the zeitgeist, and I don't know if that would have happened like a decade ago.
I think if he hyper focuses this a little bit, like, listen, China only allowing, one movie every 2 weeks into their country to fine. Like, if you want to put your dick on the table against them, yeah, have it be like Chinese made stuff. Like, fine. Like, I'm pretty sure people can get behind that. But like, why? Like, how much great anime is made in the U.S.? Because I feel like all anime comes from not the U.S.
There's practically
Does it
zero
warn you?
animation, regardless of what kind, that's done in the U.S. anymore.
I think that would be
You also will just potentially stir up a whole hornet nest if you start talking about anime being made outside of Japan. We don't know how the chat will respond to that. That's kind of a contentious subject in the anime industry. Like,
Yeah,
if it's
whether
not from
you're
Japan, it's not. Yeah.
Wait,
but
what?
traditional or not.
Well-
It's kind of like champagne. Is it made from the region, or is it just emulating bubbly wine?
it-
Oh,
it's a whole thing.
Oh,
Even though, ironically, most anime, like at least half of anime, is like actually Japan anime is made in Korea. There's whole layers of hypocrisy
still
and
not China.
complication.
I guess
Still not China, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like like what Gray brought up. I think in spirit it's the right idea, but the execution's a little stumbly, to be very charitable. I think if you want people to hire Americans, you make it a bit more attractive to states or studios or employers or whatever, and maybe not like I don't know why you would punish other countries for helping make something um, a good American product. Like how many American cars are 100% American?
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do the breakdown on any of that stuff. There has to be some sort of percentage, and then, yeah, do people on visas, if they were working on the movie, does that still count as American made? Even I think there's a lot of weird technicality. Yeah,
Yeah. Also
Here's a
technicality.
question too. I was asked to let that go. But good catch.
I can't because I
So when
stumble
you're
too
training
much.
a dog, when you're training a dog, I feel like the traditional thing is like, like, here, do this, do this, do this. Oh, good boy, here's a treat. Not like smacking him. Do the thing. Do the thing.
there's
It's
two
like
schools: positive reinforcement versus negative.
But is it the dog from the
enough.
next yard over? That's how you train that dog from
sure.
the next yard over.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you give your dog treats, you smack the neighbor's dog. But it just instead of like charging people for not doing something, yeah, like we keep saying, give them reasons to do the thing you want them to do. It just seems so simple and clean. But
Yeah. Like if you're like he mentioned Hollywood. He mentioned Hollywood specifically. So I don't know, give some sort of federal break to Hollywood.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to have this. I don't know. America, when I was growing up, was if you're the best at what you do, you go to America to do it. And considering how we're acting towards people who aren't born in America, are we trying to say now that you better be born in America and the best of Americans to do something? Because that's not the best of the best. Like if you're the best in Zimbabwe at something and you come to America, like the American dream is to be successful, no? And like if you can do it here, oh, that's New York. If you can do it here, you can do it anywhere.
A New Yorker over here trying to shove his New Yorkiness up in there.
Listen, I can't help it. We are the world city.
Well, for us, Oregon, where I grew up, is the grass seed capital of the world. So,
I don't know if California taxes the shit out of Hollywood. Yeah, so
it does.
Wouldn't
it kind of seems like we're following in their shoes in a weird way?
Yeah, it feels like so America's now going to tax the shit out of the rest of the world, which like I don't think that solves the problem. I think we're just taxing everyone. I mean, I think there's a solution to make it more lucrative to have Americans working for you, but again, I don't think it's slapping the dog in the next yard that happens to have food that you could enjoy eating.
This is a very odd metaphor, but I love it.
For sure. And Rex is asking, are they taxes or tariffs? They are tariffs, but it does seem like it is definitely going to be kind of viewed that way, the tax thing.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Someone asked earlier, where does the money go? Does the U.S. government just pocket it? Does it just go into some big coffer somewhere, and I would end up spending the money on the military?
I would assume it would go towards lowering the deficit, right? Like, I hope so.
Oh yeah,
that's
any
not
day
bad
now.
That's actually not bad.
Balanced out.
Like, listen, if long term this solves something, say that. Say, hey, listen, we need, I don't know, it's doom and gloom up front, and us learning the hard way that it might be beneficial is just a weird way to present it. I don't know. It just uh, I don't like the idea of America being isolationist for everything.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be punished for being good at something but not American.
I was looking back at my favorite films from the last couple years. Man, there's a lot of international ones on there. Anatomy of a Fall was just like amazing, like 2 years ago. Triangle of Sadness was just like amazing. Last year, Kneecap was one of my favorite flicks. I don't think I'd be seeing any of these. I know that they would not be opening anywhere near me. Just man, this seems like it's definitely going to be a trade-off. I'm not sure if it's going to win what it's intended to do, but there will be more productions probably in the U.S. in the near future. I don't know. I just can't think that that's worth it. Not getting the foreign films though.
I'm a little worried that it might actually lead to less movies being made
Yes.
because without the ability to go, shoot a quick scene and well, quick scene, go to London and for an hour and shoot a quick scene. It's just going to hamper creativity, and it's just going to lead. I mean, maybe that's the point. Just more movies about America, and less movies featuring Canada or something.
Well,
I don't. I think it's going to lead to less options
I
and just less available.
the
Yeah, go
fact
ahead.
that the average movie has more than one country
Yeah, yeah.
on the production team, like that should say something. Like you're essentially affecting every single film moving forward, which
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them are willing to take that hit, how many of them can survive, and what we're losing in that process. To go back to the theater industry, let's just forget streaming and all that, because I don't know, maybe they could figure it out. But if it's the theater industry, how many people would be willing to pay double for their experience? And like, wouldn't that have people a bit more gun shy about going to the theater for something that they're not really too excited for?
The
I'm not
price is
even.
absurd. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't think people would be willing to pay twice as much. And man, they're trying every gimmick out there to try and get people back into the theaters. I kind of mentioned it. And I don't think I ever actually went into what they mean by it, but they're talking about making like movie theaters like a second screen experience. So maybe it's a movie you already know, and then you go on your app and you basically are able to do like trivia for the thing. You're able to yell at the screen. It's more of an interactive experience. I definitely can't see shelling out twice as much to see something multiple times. Like, man, I just I think this could be the nail in the coffin if they really do go all through this, even with the pickleball. I don't know.
I, yeah, I
Yeah. Another thing that might end up happening is we might end up getting even more American remakes of foreign films. So, even more Americanized Speak No Evils and stuff like that. And they'll just see a movie that did well overseas and then just American make it over here.
Spike
Like,
Lee's Old Boy was a
oh,
masterpiece, sir.
yeah,
A
fair, fair,
masterpiece.
fair.
Plus, I didn't have to read words on the bottom, so winner. uh, I
Yeah.
I'm kind of shell shocked by this. Uh, if somehow you're managing to get through life not realizing what's happening with money and shit in the world, it seems like the president is doing his best to make sure that you're aware that not only is life not financially easier, but it's actually getting more difficult and a bit more tedious as far as paying for shit and enjoying things. Again, I apologize for bringing up politics, but it became a part of this. Like we talk about
Well, it
fun.
is the box office. It is going to affect all of showbiz. Rex is pointing out that
Hey, that's
the
us.
incidents of yeah,
All of
the
Focus.
name. We said the thing. Rex is pointing out that tariffs on products usually doesn't fall on the consumer. It's a little bit unclear how exactly they would do this. You're right. However, I have heard a couple theories that it will be essentially on the cinema. It will go off the ticket price, but I really don't know. Unfortunately, it's very unclear at this point, which is kind of interesting. Usually when there's a giant shift, there's kind of, some information to back it, how exactly it's going to be implemented.
Yeah, but a business owner, like I don't know, it's something that was shown to me here in the UK is a business owner that pays $10,000 for their shipment from somewhere, with the tariff. Like the thing was shipped, $10,000 of goods, because of the tariff, it was now $12,000. I don't know how you don't pass that on to the consumer, but like
sure.
that's got to get
guess
picked up
all the good
somewhere.
math.
Sure,
Somehow
sure.
you might be able to lose it in that, but I highly doubt that they can just do a 100%, readjustment of the budget. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
I don't know. It seems like the ripples are going to be huge in this one.
I don't think the theater industry, if we're just talking about, movies, the theater industry is not sturdy at this point where they could just take this moment. Like even if you figure out a way to not pass it on to the consumer, someone's got to pay that tariff. And if you own a theater, where are you finding that money? And what do you? Again, it's
Popcorn buckets manufactured in the U.S. I'm just saying.
Pickleball.
Think about it.
yeah, pickleball tables, all U.S. whatever. And Felix, did you say what your car is? I'm curious to know what car Felix has that's 100% American, because that's interesting.
Interesting.
I
Mm.
I don't know very many things, and I'm not trying to like be political about it, but like how many things are 100% made in America?
I'm just trying to think. Like,
It's
it's like I know Teslas are American cars, but a lot of their parts come from other countries because they need those rare earth minerals
There's
for
a
stuff, and we don't really have those here.
There's a factory in Germany
Yeah.
that I've been hearing about that some interesting things have happened as far as cost are concerned. Apparently, a lot of the rare earth come from China. Again, if U.S. and China are swinging their dicks at each other, sure. If you want to, say China needs to, I agree. You can't have movies with black people in them air in China. Like, how about you just not send stuff to China then? Like, if this is about like that, it
Yeah,
makes a bit more
which
sense.
it could be that type of propaganda. I can't think it's like, showing the class systems in Parasite is what he's talking about, but maybe. But if you're talking about shit like that, where it's like we have to kowtow to foreign markets, maybe this would change that. But even then, it seems like he'd want to kind of go with a scalpel, not this kind of chainsaw
Yeah,
effect.
but did you see Elon Musk? He had that giant
It
scalpel.
looked pretty cool. I
Giant
got to be
scalpel?
honest. It doesn't have the same effect if you're just holding up this little tiny knife. Fair enough.
Scalpel. Ah.
Oh, but I want to see Bernie Sanders run on stage right now with like 2 chainsaws in his hands, and there's like a thing that says like I don't know, capitalism, and Bernie just starts chopping it up.
Yeah, Rex, I don't know about that. Depending on the product, okay. Some companies would actually make more money keeping the price the same, just paying the full tariff. But someone's assuming that cost, I guess, is the important
Still
thing.
lose money.
Like it's not just a donation. Like, I don't know how many small businesses can just afford to pay 25 to 145% extra for something and just not pass it on.
I mean, it could be the loss leader type deal. Then, you get people associated with your company, you get them to kind of back your product, and eventually you could ramp it up. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how exactly you go with 100% tariff.
And again, to bring it back to movies, it's not a tangible product, and it's art. Like it's
saying
art.
It's subjective.
It is objectively a piece of art. how do you what exactly are you charging a tariff on? The ability to screen it or the product itself? Like if it goes to a theater on a hard drive, are you putting a tariff on that hard drive? Is it the production itself? Like where are you applying that charge? Because there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of places you could apply it to. Like if you're going to screen it somewhere, you have to pay that tariff. You're going to get them at the theater. You're going to get them at streaming, physical media. Like it seems like it could be something of a triple dip.
So curious if like the more countries that something is filmed in, will they get like the tariff? It's like multiple times.
Yeah, you had
Like,
3
you know what I
countries. That's
mean?
300%. Like, come on. Yeah, all these things are a bit unclear currently, but it sounds like it is the budget of the movie that they're going off of currently, but I don't know.
But what if
No,
the money's
if
spent in
one
the
good thing-
U.S.?
Yeah, I'm going to do a quick glass half full situation.
Please.
What if this
Okay.
causes budgets to go down a little bit? Like we were just talking
Yeah.
about how inflated budgets are hurting things. What if things aren't? What movies become cheaperly made?
So
now?
budgets
I'm
will
not-
go down, and we'll be able to hire more Americans.
I mean, I'm not saying
Well-
it. Yeah. Please.
Maybe
You
you
got me
don't
there.
hire The Rock nearly as much. You don't have to
Fair.
haul the Iron Paradise around.
Fair. Fair.
You know, I mean, it's going to hurt for the Red One franchise, but
Yeah, Red 2's
I
going to
think we
flop.
can. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to think you'd get away from some of these super inflated budgets, but even then, if you're lessening it just because you know you're going to have to spend twice as much, I don't know.
But-
perhaps it'll adjust everything.
So
Who knows?
it's arguable that The Rock is one of the best at what he does. Arguable.
Getting paid.
Isn't
It's very
the
good at getting paid.
isn't the spirit of capitalism making as much as you're worth?
I thought so. I thought it was free market and let the market decide. And, you know, you can have as many dolls as you want.
Well-
it's your choice which movie you want to see, whether it's foreign or domestic.
Let the market decide after I get my 100% tariff. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It does seem to be a little bit different than that. They don't seem to be, the market doesn't seem to be prioritized as much as America. So I don't know.
Yeah, I for as much as merit was an important thing in the last couple of months, I don't know if exclusively incorporating American is the best way to get the best. If you're charging someone who's the best but they're not American is kind of weird. I don't know. It's very funky. Hopefully this is just bullshit nonsense. And you know, the news cycle. We got sucked into this week's news cycle, and I don't know.
Well, it's
Well,
going to
kind of
directly
how do you
affect
not talk
the
about
box
this?
office.
Whoa, one at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I think Lindsey was saying, "How do you not talk about this?" And I was saying, like, it's going to affect the box office. So we were saying the same thing from two different sides. But how do you not get sucked into it? Every single bit of like Hollywood news that I've seen over the last 2 days is just everyone has questions. You know, we have no idea how this is going to break down, but man, if it's implemented as they're saying, it's going to change everything.
Yeah. Lindsay, I'm sorry. Did Gray say everything you were going to say?
I literally, Gray and I are of one mind.
That's kind of creepy.
Don't be jelly.
Okay. So if any of you are left, I noticed the chat popped off, and as much as I enjoy interactivity, I don't like it for the sake of politics. I'd love for you guys to argue about what movie is best and why Superman's going to be better than Marvel. And as much as I can't stand that shit, I'd much rather that than politics talk. But as a nice refresher, we are going to segue into the Last of Us discussion. And spoilers, I gave you a screen to let you know that spoilers for Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, we're now over the halfway point. And Lindsey, we haven't formally spoken to you at all about this season, so run amok, sir. How are you feeling?
Enjoying it. Right. I think we're 4 episodes deep now out of 7 or
Mhm.
8. How
4
long
out
is
of
the
7.
season going to be?
4 out of 7.
4 out of, wow. So it is 7. Like that felt like such a random number, but okay, 4 out of 7. Uh, I'm digging it. I thoroughly loved the first season, and I'm into pretty much everything that's happening here so far. Even episode 3, the kind of slow one, like there was enough emotion going on and enough character work, and that one character who was an asshole, kind of not really getting redeemed because like he's still a dick, but like the fact that like he was able to find a middle ground with Ellie, like I was into the kind of slow episode.
Wait, what?
The guy that was upset about Ellie kissing Dina because
Oh,
girls
Bigot
shouldn't be
Sandwich,
kissing girls. Biggest sandwich, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
otherwise
like
known as
I
Seth.
he's not redeemed. He's still a bad person, but like I did think it was a cute little moment where they allowed them to kind of
Is
work
he a
together a little
bad
bit.
person? He thinks things that people don't agree on. I think part of the essence of showing that was we don't have to agree on things, but doesn't
Right.
mean we can't cooperate and do things. Yes, their opinions aren't aligned, but it doesn't mean that they don't have to coexist. I liked that the show is able to show that, like, yeah, I think a thing that you don't agree with, but we do agree on some things. Um, and if there's anything that it's such a hippie episode, if there's anything that the world could use right now is to realize that we could disagree and still like talk and still like work towards a greater good. Sorry, Lindsay. I don't know if I would call it his character's a bigot sandwich, but I don't know if we've known him to be a bad character.
Totally fine, 100%. I was just
Good, because
going for the broad strokes.
I'm not
though,
swaying
but yeah,
from
yeah.
this.
Ooh. Well, another thing that I thought was really interesting, and this is in episode 4. There's that. First of all, Jeffrey Rush. Yeah, Jeffrey Rush. No, not Jeffrey
Right,
Rush.
right.
Jeffrey Wright. Thank you. When he just showed up out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, okay, this show just got 10 times cooler because I love me some Jeffrey Wright. And then he had that insane scene where he's torturing the guy, and like the guy's saying like, oh, you're horrible, you're doing all of this, and Jeffrey Wright's like, no, we're doing this because you shot at us, and the guy's like, yeah, we shot at you because of this, and he's like, yeah, and we so it's like eye for an eye and the whole world's blind in a very quick scene about a season that's very clearly about vengeance versus justice. So it's a very well written show. It's incredibly well acted. Again, Jeffrey Wright, all the points in the world just for him being there. Uh, and it's just kind of cute. The Dina Ellie relationship is kind of endearing. I'm really into it. It took me. I'm embarrassed to say how long to realize what song she was singing during that one scene.
Take
Like
on
it
me
should not have taken me that long to realize she was singing "Take Me On."
or take on me.
But that was take on me, yeah. But that was just a great fun scene. So it's like the show is dark and it can has great action. I wasn't because I thought we were only gonna have the one big thing, the Jackson attack. So I wasn't ready for episode 4 to suddenly have this swarm in the
Oh, the
subway
subway.
system
Yeah.
that happened. That was an incredible sequence. It's just such a well-made show, and I'm glad I never really played the games because like I kind of know things. Like I knew someone was
Oh,
gonna
wow.
die and things like that, just because existing on the internet zeitgeist, like you pick things up. It's kind of hard to avoid certain things. But yeah, this is just a good damn show, man. One of my favorite zombie shows. And unlike Walking Dead, it didn't get worse in season 2, so good for it. Like,
Oh, I don't like what you
yeah.
said, but I'll carry on. The monologue leading, like, we don't know what Mr. Wright is. He's just talking about a pot for a little bit. His little monologue was Tarantinian.
Yes.
Very,
Yes.
very, rolling out the red carpet for something. And it was like, I wonder if, like, without knowing, because we don't see who it is, we just see a pot on a flame or a pan on a flame. Guy's talking about why brass or copper is best for that. And it's like, oh, maybe they're like figuring out a way to have delicacies in the apocalypse. This is interesting. And slowly but surely realize that, no, he's heating a pan to use for torture. And I'll tell you, there's actually a video to prove this. The first thing I saw in the top right when it said language nudity, I was like, oh, we're going to have a fuck scene and there's going to be nudity in this. I don't really need that. But I was happily surprised to realize it was just some dude with his twig and berries on the ground while he's getting tortured. I don't know what that says, that I was like relieved that it was just a dude all out. That was the nudity. But
seeing a dude laid out like that is powerful, man. Like if he had like, a little raggedy shorts on or something, it still would have been an effective reveal, but nowhere near as much. Because
Yeah,
like
like-
they've taken away his dignity,
Give
his
it-
freedom, and now they're torturing him.
it was
like,
clearly cold in there. Like, give the guy some
It's
tighty
dirt.
whities.
like turn the heater up a little bit.
I like being, I don't know, tricked. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Like, I saw the warning for nudity and I was like, oh, we're just gonna, whatever. But it's weird that it was like they kind of, I don't know, did a switcheroo of sorts for me, and they didn't
There
go.
was a sex scene too. There was just no nudity.
There was a sex scene, but no nudity. Right, exactly. The fact that they didn't have to lean on nudity in romance angles was something of a relief. Like, yeah, let the story speak for itself. And if anything, I think the nudity where it was, like you said, was very effective. Like, we know what people do when they kiss. Like, yeah, they get naked and they whatever. Like I've seen it 1,000 times. But that method of torture, there was. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Was there a moment where you thought the pot was going to go on his bits?
Yeah, I definitely had that thought.
The thought
not
occurred.
sure what
It
what does that
alarmed
say
me.
about the three of us. Jesus. Like,
Well, I mean, if you're out
yeah.
exposed and you see a burning pan, and
That's true.
his hands were tied. You can't even cover yourself, or it's just
Yeah.
little beef
God, that
jerky.
scene is so good. I love. It's like it's so like I shouldn't love that scene, but like
It's-
it encapsulates the theme so well. Jeffrey Wright is such an incredible freaking actor, and like it's just powerful TV, man.
But right,
Especially after that opening scene. Ugh.
it's something out of Tarantino. It's like right out of Reservoir Dogs, where he's like talking it up and like telling him what the what the best pot to or pan to cook, but it doesn't carry heat, and it's a torture scene. It's not unlike the ear scene from Reservoir Dogs, and it's just powerful because the dude's I don't know. He doesn't say the things that I would say if I was tied up naked and about to face a burning pan. But like he's like, yeah,
That's the
you
thing.
started it. Sorry, Gray?
It shows you the other side of the Seraphites, the scars, if you will.
Right.
Like you saw kind of the, I guess he's calling them, not true believers or whatever, but now you're seeing like a super devout one. You're seeing that these are definitely more formidable foes than kind of those
Right.
non-believers.
The order that they show us, the Seraphites, so far, like they showed us like, a cult essentially, and they didn't stand up and fight. But now suddenly, we have a guy who's tied up, and it seems like from the exchange that they had that maybe they don't run from every little fight, which is not what we've seen so far. So, yeah.
I really like that. What was the line that Jeffrey Rush? Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Rush is the pirate guy from Pirates of the Caribbean. They're
Yep.
two very different actors. Jeffrey Wright says, well, the guy's like, you'll lose. And Jeffrey Wright's like, how are we going to lose? We have automatic weapons and medical supplies and hospitals and supply lines. You have bows and arrows and bolt action rifles. So it's like that classic Star Wars, like asymmetrical, like warfare thing going on. And so like, while, these religious seraphim, what are they called?
Whatever you want.
Seraphites or scars, whatever you want to
Okay,
call them.
Scarlett Johansson.
Dudes in red.
Scarlett Johansson.
The Scarlett Johanssons.
Yeah,
like,
the ScarJos.
and in season 1 or the first game, we saw religion being used as a way to be like a thing for villainy with the preacher guy who was a molester and a cannibal, like double dipping in the horrible things there. But these Scar guys, they seem better. Like maybe they're not so bad. Like who knows?
So
Later
far.
on in the season, I could be eating those words. Who knows what horrible things they do? We already saw that one corpse with 1,000 arrows in it. Pretty
Yeah,
sure
that
you
was
only
wild.
needed one, guys.
That was wild. Yeah.
Oh, and then they eviscerated the wolf guys too. Again, the wolf guys suck. I get it, but like, so I wonder if they're doing a thing where like neither side of this war, like the good guys or the bad guys,
Yeah.
which again ties into the themes.
Yeah. It's
Well, it's not just that they mutilated them though. Like in that TV station, they also set up the lights to really display what they had done.
Yes, that's true.
It made it more of a show.
the hanging bodies. And I don't know, Lindsey, have you played the first Last of Us?
I haven't played any of them.
Oh,
No,
man.
literally zero.
Dude, get on that. Like, even if you only play the first one, get on that. Great.
Okay.
Did you feel like they paid a decent homage to the games when Ellie and Dina were like sneak attacking when they were catching up with the wolves?
There's a couple of times. So I know you kind of hurried through your playthrough of it. Did you get the music store experience when you were in Seattle?
I know I had to play the song for Dina. I don't know how much of the music store I did, but yeah, I kind of rushed.
That felt very game to me,
Sure.
in a good way. And then, also with the sneaking of, when the wolves are discovering what the Seraphites did and they just happen to be in that room. A lot of those really hit just right on for me. It felt like they actually threw some elements from the show, from the game in the show. And, they really kind of connected for me, kind of like the bottle from, I think, episode 1, where they were, trying to distract him.
Tiny touch. Yeah.
There's little touches, but man, that whole song, again, not since like Basketball have I seen as good of a cover of Take On Me.
Wow.
I'm just saying, man, Aha doesn't get covered nearly enough. But yeah, there's a lot of changes that they definitely did with this, but I'm kind of liking where they're going with it. There's a couple things that didn't work for me nearly as well, but I think the parts that they're kind of mimicking the game, that really is, it worked for me a lot, especially the song. You think, okay, in the middle of, sneaking through on a revenge mission, all of a sudden you come across a guitar. That doesn't seem like that would work, but man, it really was kind of that respite that you need in the middle of the action, which is why they throw it in the game. But man, that really worked for me. And then just, so Bella does a good job of the cover on that, as well as what Ashley Johnson did in the original. But just watching the reaction on Dina's face, you can really see something that's happening between those actors, and it's little moments that they're really kind of getting the characters right for me, even though they're very different from the game. Characterization off the charts.
I was made aware of Isabel Merced, her facial reactions in Alien Romulus. I am very, very in tune with her. She's probably my favorite actor so far in this series. Her facial expressions, it's not just, screaming and being scared. Like you said, Gray, there's I don't know if it's the eyes or like there's just some sort of warmth or like just something that she's doing with her eyes that like are helping the emotion get played out.
I hope this shuts up a lot of the people who have criticized that, like, the attractiveness of the actors is not like up to par or whatever. So specifically, like, people are giving Bella a lot of shit on this, or why would Dina be interested in her?
What the fuck?
Man, after seeing that, I don't know. Doing something kind of amazing in front of somebody is definitely a way to kind of, win them over, if you will. And man, that totally convinced me.
Yeah, but not pretty.
Guitar. If you can be a master of something,
that's not Riz.
You can get. Listen, I'm not a pretty man, but let me tell you, I've experienced that where you can kind of see that, you know, just this playing has touched somebody's heart and has kind of broken through their shell.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm
that
not gonna
totally
toot
worked
my
for
own
me.
horn. My own, not to toot my own horn, but I dated a
You are
girl
a
for
pretty
several
man,
years one
Lindsey. You're
time.
right.
No. I did the worm in front of a girl one time, and we just dated for the next like several years. And she straight up admitted to me, "Was like, yeah, dude, you did the hell out of that worm. That's what got you the date." And I'm like,
Again,
so
you got to be
Riz is a
amazing,
thing, guys. Yeah.
be undeniable. So I hope this at least gives them something to say because man, the reaction of Isabella in her set just it was awesome. It was totally believable for me.
Yeah.
What was she in Romulus? I don't remember.
She's the one who like has the best scream. The one who's like crawling underneath the like the grate.
Was she the one like? Oh yeah, she was really good. Okay.
Yeah. Like trust
Damn.
me,
Okay.
if there was a reaction shot in Alien Romulus in the first half, it was her that you were like wowed at. Like she's in the trailer. Like anytime someone's screaming, it's her.
Well, okay.
So after I think the best use of delivering information that we all kind of knew was going to happen. Dina's character starts puking after she sees more victims, and you're like, okay, that's twice now. But they have this moment where they're trying to escape the WLF, and they're stuck in a subway station, and shit pops off. Really great action set piece. But they get tangled up in those gates that the subways have, where you have to like, I don't know, like those rotating doors, but like with bars. And both Ellie and Dina get stuck, and one of the zombies, I don't know, one of the infected get to them, and Ellie sticks out her arm to distract the infected to not bite Dina, and they get through after that, and Dina's kind of freaked out that Ellie's been bitten, and she's basically ready to shoot Ellie. And the back and forth that they have, where Ellie says, "You know what? Just keep your gun on me. I'm gonna go to sleep. If I turn, you can shoot me. Whatever." And the next morning, she's fine, and then she explains, why she's immune or whatever it is she is. It's a great opportunity. It's a perfect use of having Dina tell her she's pregnant. Like, here, I shared a secret. You put yourself on the line for me. There's this big secret. I'll tell you what is something of a new secret for me, and like that's the way that they kind of break the barrier down. And
I hear you.
oh,
So this is the one part that like doesn't quite work for me.
huh,
I see what they're trying to do, and you're not wrong. Like they each have a really big secret, so it does seem like you share it, and of course it would make the other person want to share in exchange. That part works for me, but my God, why wouldn't you say more words other than like, "Nah, it's cool. Like, I'm gonna take a nap. Just keep the gun on me. It'll be okay." Maybe it's because words just kind of spill out of me, but I would have explained so much more, so much quicker, and then let her still hold the gun on you as you take a nap. But I think a little bit more explanation would have worked a little bit better.
yeah,
That being said, I get it. I like overall what happened. I just wish the execution was slightly different in that. But again, it's a callback to kind of when Joel thought that she was going to turn, so kind of spent the night with the gun on her, and then realized that yes, she is actually immune, and this isn't a threat. So it seems like she is kind of calling back to that, which makes sense. That was kind of a moment of safety and got somebody to trust her. So I get why they're going that route. I think the execution could have been a little bit better. And then the second that Dina kind of gives her secret as well, just man, they just like mash faces. I think a couple beats could have been a little bit better in that series. I like what overall happened there. I wish it was executed slightly different.
I agree. I think with the tent scene, if I'm gonna throw a complaint at Ellie's character or the way Bella Ramsey's been doing things, I didn't really read that she was interested in Dina, and when Dina kind of like lets Ellie know that she's like throwing signals, I would have liked a little bit more, because it felt like it was just like, yeah, I don't know. It felt a little less flirtatious, even when all the cards are on the table. Not a major gripe for me, but yeah.
I mean, there is the throwaway line that like I was trying to hide it, and then Dina's telling her like you didn't do very well at it.
I disagree with that. I think Ellie was hiding it pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, save that thought. Important message.
Master Castelius, $5 super chat. Thank you. If you guys could have any game made into a movie or TV show, what would it be?
Super Mario 2.
I mean, we might get that. So who knows what Mario 2 the movie's going to be? It might be Paper Mario 2.
Not Paper Mario. Super Mario 2. I'm just saying, the weird one where you go to the dream world, it's great.
Yeah.
You like pull turnips out of the ground. It was a completely different game, and they reskinned it with Mario. Oh, it's great.
Hell yeah. Is that the first reskin?
It's got to be up there.
Right.
One of.
Yeah.
Lindsey?
I'm trying to think of a game that would work really well. I think StarCraft could be interesting.
That would be cool.
It's just a big space opera. I don't think they should necessarily try and do StarCraft 2, because oh my god, that story went off the rails. But StarCraft 1 and Broodware, like I think that could make for an interesting space drama.
I'm gonna say.
I guess it's still. Oh, please, you speak. I did my joke, but you go first.
I was, if not Castlevania, which they've kind of had like anime or whatever. Ghosts and Goblins, which is a very old game that would be fun. Or Ghouls and Ghosts.
An impossible game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I love that one. I think I'd be going kind of from that same thing. Like, man, I'd love to see an actual Metroid, but if I can't do that, we're not quite there technologically. Let's do Bionic Commando. I mean, come on, some dude with like a grappling hook as his left hand. Perfect. Let's do that.
Sounds sick.
Lindsey, what did you think of
something more modern too? Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
What did you think of the exchange between Ellie and Dina?
Which exchange?
Right before they finger fucked each
so
other.
he didn't think about it.
Yeah, sorry. Well, they exchanged spit, but no.
A lot more than that.
One question, in the game, because I've seen this clip online, in the games, did Dina find out that she was immune because of like the mask stopped working?
Yes.
Because in the games, it's the spores that are really the big deal, not necessarily. I mean, the bites are a big deal too, but like the spores are like a big constant thing. Okay.
In the game,
so they
one
did
of
have
the gas masks gets cracked, so Ellie gives Dina her gas mask, so that's how they kind of learn. There is no bite thing, so that is a change, and I kind of dig that change. For me, it works.
And the spores apparently are a thing,
don't want to
too.
cover your...
Like, we haven't seen it
in
yet.
the game?
Well, no, in the show,
movie?
like, apparently there's some on the horizon.
Oh, shit, okay. Because that was one thing that I don't know the games very well, but I think that's a cool concept to have, is like, the air is dangerous too in some places. You have to be careful about where you can breathe. That's kind of terrifying. I think that could be an effective way to kind of drum up some tension in the show, but I also get that you don't want to put all your characters in gas masks. It's the Mandalorian thing again, especially because Pedro Pascal's your star. You can't just if you're paying for Pedro's face, you show Pedro's face at this point. But so they had to completely rework it because they didn't have that scene anymore. And the moment when Ellie puts the arm in front of Dina's face so she gets bit was pretty badass. I didn't expect that. I thought Dina was just dead, and they were just going to go a completely different direction with the show. So that was pretty cool, I thought. So the moment of I'm immune, I'm pregnant. I thought it was kind of a sweet moment of characters kind of coming together. I can understand having that letter linger a little more, like you said, Gray, because that's building tension again, and storytelling is all about building tension, sexual tension, death tension, all that kind of stuff. It worked for me. I think Dina and Ellie are cute, and I don't know if they both survive the Last of Us Part 2, but I hope they do, and I hope they raise a cute little kiddo together, and Ellie gets to be a dad.
Gray, how does my less explored portion of the internet feel about that pregnancy discussion where they basically made decisions for Jesse's child without him thus far?
I mean,
Has
a
that
lot
been
of
picked up?
people seem to be hating the fact that it seems like they instantly decided to be a family. Apparently that rubs some people the wrong way. And then, yeah, there was another. Uh, so rightfully so, I think there is some criticism that you just learn this person is immune, but they did just get bit like moments ago. Should you immediately go in for a kiss, or should you find
Hmm.
out if it takes some time to like clear out of their system? Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think so. For me, it kind of works. Like you can see a lot of the look on Dina's face as they're getting to the theater, and then once they get to the theater and everything, you can see that she truly seems to have. If she's not in love, she is crushing hard for Ellie at this point, and then it is just crushing her that she essentially sacrificed her life for her.
Yeah.
That to me kind of works, and then the fact that she's up all night, kind of thinking about that. I feel like you could have gotten a little bit more on her face and what she's going through when Bella wakes up, but still, for me it works. But yeah, there seems to be some sides of the internet who are really not happy with this non-traditional family and the just jumping into, yes, let's race it together.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like they could have handled that a bit better. Like, I don't know, making a decision about a father's child without him there is a little. I don't know how I feel about that. There's a different way to do that. Like, I don't know. It wasn't an A+ for me, but um, I figured once Ellie said I'm going to be a dad, I was like, oh, the haters aren't going to like that at all.
That's the line that seems to have set everyone off
Yeah.
on that side of the internet. Which, fair enough. The other thing that people aren't necessarily happy with is Bella able to kind of get the jump on that one guard in the TV station. It is Ellie getting the jump on him. He doesn't check his right when he enters the room, and then she's able to kind of use
Hmm.
her judo skills on him. I don't know. For me, it kind of works
Yeah.
out. It is what you're doing in the game. It feels very
Yeah.
similar to that. But yeah, I guess there is a size difference. People seem to really be pointing that out quite a bit.
So if we're
The season did start with her sparring against a dude that was even bigger than that dude, unless I'm
twice,
mistaken.
He was pulling his
Twice.
punches,
Yeah.
and apparently he should have just smashed her on the mat. Is what some of the internet thinks.
yeah, it's training.
Hmm.
It's whenever you have the Mary Sue complaint come out, this is she's had training, so
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's part of the arc that you're so desperate for. Uh, I,
Mm.
I don't know. It seems like very selective. It's very selective in general. If you're running parallel to the game, there's something very clearly not shown to us yet, and some things that haven't happened yet or happened differently. In the game at this point, at least one other character would have been ahead of them.
Mhm.
And the fact that they're
Which
like
doesn't seem like they're doing that at all.
right, they're holed up in a theater, which um, hunker down because it seems like that's where they're going to be for the rest of the season. When I think of the theater, I think of a couple of moments, and so far that something that hasn't happened yet it should have happened already. And I'm
Guys,
won-
I know Chewbacca shows up. You don't need to dance around it, okay?
I'm wondering if they're changing things a lot, because the order.
So is there another
Seems like
character
it.
that's supposed to be around, or was something significant supposed to have happened, or both?
Yes, and
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It might be the order of things that are happening, but
Mhm.
it's still at this point in the game, there are different characters doing different things that are, something that we're aware of, and not like, the way that Dina finds out, just kind of switching the circumstance. It's kind of a big deal, and
hmm
if they're going to do it differently, I'm kind of intrigued, but yeah.
Same. I don't know exactly how they're gonna pull this off, which is interesting because they had kind of with everything that they've kind of built up with Jackson. I wasn't sure how that was gonna happen. So it is kind of fun that there are little things kind of thrown in there, even if you're familiar with the game. You don't know exactly how everything's gonna pan out, but yeah, I I'm not sure if they're skipping it or if they're rearranging the order, like you mentioned, because I think there's a couple ways that you could still put that in later, but
Yeah.
we'll see if other characters show up soon.
Is Jeffrey Wright in the games, his character, or is he a
Yes.
show original?
Sort of. So he doesn't show up this early, but you
Okay.
do get a lot of reference from him. But he is one of two actors that is playing their role on the show that was doing it in the game.
Oh man, now I gotta play the game. Jeffrey Wright's doing a voice in the game. Goddamn. All right. Okay. All right. Now wait till the season's over. Well, I guess I'll play half the game. And then wait to play the other half of the game.
I
after
don't
season
think
3 comes
if you
out.
play the second game, I don't think you're going to be able to play it in an order that would match this season.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think you'd find things out early.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just keep holding off then. Well, maybe I can play the first one.
So I have tiny little pebble complaints that would not sway how I've experienced this. I'm kind of shocked that we're over the halfway mark, and I'm thoroughly impressed. They've done things that I didn't expect that have still managed to pay off for me. And I really hope they can ride this out for the rest of the season. I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, how do you end this? But like, if they maintain the spirit of what they're doing up until now, I can't imagine it missing for me. Lindsey, how are you experiencing the show thus far? And is it any complaints, anything sticking out to you?
I mean, I don't mean to simp for the show, but unless it suddenly pulls like a Book of Boba Fett and has 2 episodes that have nothing to do with anything that's happened
We
so
might get one.
far. I mean, 1 would be okay, but 2 would be a little weird, especially because there's only 3 episodes left. But I'm digging it, man. The only I guess if I do have a complaint is the fact that it's not going to be a complete story and it's going to have some probably very annoying cliffhanger before we get season 3 for the second half of the game. I'm Invincible did that in season 2, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. And Stranger Things does it; it kind of works, kind of doesn't. I'm not, those types of things kind of bug me sometimes. But other than that, I'm on board, man.
Gray?
Yeah, I think like you, the pebble analogy kind of works. There's little things that I wish they just paid off a little bit more, especially when they're able to get some real amazing character moments. Like again, where just the look that Dina has when the Take on Me cover is being played. Like, man, I can get that she's really falling for Bella, for Ellie, and yeah, I wish
Ellie.
the little bit of the theater was it just played out a little bit differently. I think it could have been a little bit stronger, but man, for that being the weakest part of the episode for me, still, there's so much gold in there. Maybe we're all simping a bit too hard for this show, but I'm really digging this as far as any adaptations have gone. They can still screw it up, but man, for me, this is working out way better than I expected.
So, from the gloomier side of things, Gray, what are people complaining about that like feels tangible, that isn't like Bella ugly. I can't smash that. Like,
so there's a couple of criticisms that actually seem somewhat apropos. So there is one part that we didn't talk about, as long as we were talking about game-like things. At the very start of the episode, where Dina's kind of searching the pharmacy, that really feels like part of the game to me, like the way that they're able to get that in. But kind of going along with that, people are complaining that the characters are way too clean, and
for the love of
I can't help but kind of agree with them. Like, you put me out in the woods for like 3 days, I'm gonna be gross. Where they do seem quite pristine. However, that might be a juxtaposition that they're going to use with kind of the latter half of the series. So
wasn't there literally a line where they're talking about their smell?
Well, the morning breath. I mean,
Morning breath. Yeah.
come on, like who doesn't have morning breath before jerky? It makes sense to me. But yeah, I can't help but think that that's going to actually come into play later, and perhaps there's a reason why they look so clean now.
No, I'm sorry. It's a fun thing to say. It's like me having a complaint that 24 he never shits. Like yeah.
Well,
okay.
it's 24 hours. I mean, come on average.
I
yeah, I get what you're saying. It is a show. You do have some heightened sense of reality. Fair enough.
I do hear you though. That annoys me in a lot of things. Like the Netflix Avatar, everyone was way too squeaky clean with those like bright colors that didn't have a speck of dust on them. At one point, Zuko's in a building that explodes, and he stands up from the rubble, and like his belt is still perfectly like along. It's like, so I do hear that complaint, and I bet now that you've mentioned it, I'm going to notice that going forward, and it's gonna bug me. But it works.
So wait. Earlier in the season, when they're dancing, isn't there the line, "Do I smell?" or something like that? When they're dancing at the so there's that, and then there's
from the game.
There's the breath thing. So like short of just getting doused in mud, I
don't know, man.
That's not very tangible, Gray. What else you got?
Every time I've gone to Seattle, what can I say? I'm all grimy.
But it rains
there's
a
a
lot.
reason why it's the birthplace of grunge.
It always rains.
That's true. But yeah, that's the main thing. And then the thing that everyone's really upset with on this one is the whole like, I'm going to be the dad, or I can't remember exactly how she phrases that line. But those seem to be the two things.
So I'm there. I'm there halfway on that, but they don't look smelly enough, and I can't blast off to the characters.
Still, though, I don't know what they're.
I think they are missing lines above their heads, like like those little like cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I can't think that scene would have gone a little bit better if the lines weren't quite as clunky, but. Again, we're watching two 19-year-olds. Like, my God, I did not exactly sound smooth when I was 19.
There's that funny line where she's like, I peed on this. And they don't overtly tell you that, like, these kids don't know the world. So, like, of course, if you've never been pregnant or never experienced modern day society, peeing on a pregnancy test, it makes no sense. That little exchange where it's like, yeah, I peed on a bunch of them. And Ellie's like, wait, what?
Got more and more. That really made me laugh.
What do you mean you peed on
6.
I don't know. For every complaint I'm hearing about tiny things like that, I can think of a moment where it kind of contradicts that. But
it was a nice moment that we haven't talked about yet. The gay pride flag, and they didn't know what it was.
Yes.
There was something about that was very like, I don't even really know how to describe it. It was like, it's like coming across like an American flag, like 300 years in the future, and you're like, oh, what are these like stars and stripes?
They just said rainbows.
Yeah.
They said rainbows in like
the more familiar
traditional sense, like bright. Like, oh, this isn't all stars and rainbows. Like, oh, yeah, that's not exactly what that means. It was interesting.
It wouldn't have been as big a part of history. So the world went to hell in 2003 in this version of it. So that still would have been during like the Bush years. It wasn't exactly like pushed out there. Just this happened to be. I forget what they call that district in Seattle, but yeah, it is kind of famous where they did know about the bombing that happened there because that's kind of news. But the story of the flag didn't quite make it to them.
Would that be is that does that count as lamp shading? Because they're not really bringing it
Um,
up, but they're showing it, like I don't know these
yeah,
terms, so I don't know if I'm trying to learn what lamp shading means.
I don't think that one quite counts as that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely done intentionally, and they're drawing attention to it. The fact that you have these two queer characters in kind of one of
But they don't
the
know what the flag
pro-gay
means, like
strongholds. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I just thought that's a nice touch that I don't know, in another piece of the internet, that would be, I don't know, perceived as something else, but they don't outright say it. It's
Mhm.
it's an interesting touch where, a different, set of people in the crew could have really hammered it home like, "Yeah, we're gay in the gay city. Look, gay flag." Um, I
Well, it hammered it too much for some.
oh, for
Some of the
fuck's sake.
complaints are still that this is way too woke and everything. But
Sure. Stop watching.
yeah, yeah. And then there's still the complaints of this isn't exactly how the game was. So that's proof that they admit that they messed up in the game.
I mean, you can
That's
watch reruns of Euphoria, and Sydney Sweeney is certainly something you can blast off to.
Well, how realistic are the games? Like you can punch those bloater things to death. I've seen video clips of people doing it. It takes like 70 hits or something
For
like that. But like I'm just trying to imagine Pedro Pascal just running circles around a bloater. It's like pop, 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 pop. Like I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just think, there are people that are dug in. They're going to hate it no matter what, and, like, if you don't like it this far, why are you still watching? Like, it's not like Margot Robbie's gonna drop in and be like, "Hi, I'm straight. Where's the straight character to bang me?" And we're gonna be completely dirty, and, I don't know, like, what else do you want? Like, it's the world. It's world building. Seattle is those rainbow crosswalks are part of Seattle, so it's not like
Yeah.
they're shoehorning it in. It just so happens to be a gay couple that happens to be in a city
Yeah.
that is known for its, I I don't know. It seems like uh, when it's uh, organically done, it doesn't get credit for it. But if I don't care, you know what? They're going to complain anyway. Um, Hi there, Cody says, "I
True.
love how this episode had many sequences that felt just like playing a game." Yeah, right.
so
Uh,
many. Again, it opens
That's
up.
like
Well, I guess we didn't talk about the cold opening with Josh Peck, but the other opening where Dina's in that pharmacy, man, that just feels like it's right out of the game. Like just looking through everything, and then
the
uh,
sneaking
the
around.
music shop is just amazing. The whole sneaking thing.
Yeah,
They really seem to get some of these elements without feeling like it's shoehorned for me. I'm just loving the adaptation and kind of the moments that they're kind of taking from there.
yeah. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I'm ready. Uh, but like I feel like you're of two minds. I don't know many people that are like, eh, it's all right. I can go one way or another. Like I feel like either you're in or you're not, and if you're not going to get one over. I do feel like conversely, there is a way you can lose someone that's in.
Yeah, and they might they are doing a few changes. You know, there is definitely a character that's supposed to be there that's not. So for
Mm,
some, that might be a breaker. I know there is one character that people are kind of not digging that they're not getting as big a role this time. So I don't know. I'm not sure if they're saving that for essentially next season or if it's just going to be a surprise or what. But yeah, that's the other main complaint that I hear is
Are you
there should be somebody else that's there right
are
now.
you talking about you talking about you talking about Tommy then? Yeah.
Yeah, just it feels like they've cut a lot back from him. They've put Dina in his place a few different times this season already. Um, so it seems like out of all the characters, he's had the most kind of changes. So Tommy fans are not digging that currently.
Oh,
But
Well,
we'll see
Tommy's
where
supposed
they
to
go with
be
it.
there when Joel dies, right? Like I've seen clips, so like that's just a
Yes.
massive change right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, but there's a couple other things that you wouldn't know about as a non-game player, but yeah, his role kind of got cut significantly, and I don't know if that's so that they can use him more later. Perhaps they're going to go that route.
yeah. And that's where I feel like, as someone who has the game freshly in my memory, it's like, okay, this is different. You can still kind of fuck this up for me. I don't. I don't know. I don't know if someone who would be disinterested that's still watching at this point that can somehow be won over by something. I don't know.
To bring Joel back to life.
Probably.
That's what WLF has been trying to do this whole time. That's why they killed him so that they could clone him and make an army of Joels.
Cody says, "Do you think Tommy is the one causing the chaos and explosions at the end of the episode?"
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. They don't draw a ton of
Oh.
attention to it, but I guess you do still have two factions at war, essentially. You still got the Seraphites and the actual wolves.
That's
Who
what I
knows
assumed
if
it
that's
was, but
yeah.
If
But
Dina,
there is another character that could be showing up soon. That's
Mm,
not that one. So
mm.
who knows? They could also
Jeffrey
be
Wrong,
switching that
Jeffrey Wright's
around.
brother.
Who's Jeffrey Rush's brother. Sure, he's gonna come in. Yeah, it's hard to say. That's definitely one of the two main possibilities that I have in my mind.
Yeah, having the like trailers and stuff spoiled, and if they showed us footage that they're not going to put in the show, right on. But I can't help but think we have 2 episodes and a flashback heavy episode. We're Seattle Day 1. If you're familiar with the game, that let's just say for the sake of counting, there's 2 episodes left. You can have one episode be day 2, and another episode be day 3. Just for tidying things up sake.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're doing.
I guess the other thing that we didn't mention is hammering home of the themes. You do get to see kind of a different version of that theme being hammered home yet again with the introduction of the Isaac character. So I don't know. It just
Yeah.
it seems interesting to me. I think they're going really hard with the message, but to me it doesn't feel overbearing. But I guess some people are not digging that.
Multiple perspectives of how to deal with the theme too. Yeah.
For sure. Along with Seth, as you guys mentioned earlier.
Bigot
There's
sandwich,
yet an
sir.
angrier,
Say it right.
different way. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. It makes everything feel a little bit more fleshed out for me. But I don't know. We'll see.
Cody says,
I still don't know how they're going to end this with 3.
I'm worried that
Yeah, a question about the game again. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm worried that the splitting the story the way they have isn't going to work well for TV viewers that are hoping to be won over. Going to feel anticlimactic, I fear.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. It's if you're not a weirdo on the internet, it's well received. So I don't know. I think we're not giving television audiences enough credit. I think people are appreciating it and not really. I think they'll find a way to close this off and have people intrigued. Sorry, Lindsay, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, don't you play as Abby for a good chunk of the game?
Yep.
Yes.
Did-
And you
did
don't
that-
know why
Go ahead.
a lot of things happen. So you were given explanation in this show that you don't get for like half the
Yeah.
game. So
Oh, so we don't know why Abby did what's in the game, or
No.
yes.
Already,
Oh.
things are in different order.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse
But
me.
it kind of
Okay. So-
it makes you experience it in a different way, and
Yeah.
you really have to kind of live these kind of revelations, which is
I was going to say that, put it forward as a theory. Like, could the season 3 be all from Abby's point of view? Is that how they're going
That's
to
a theory.
justify?
That is certainly a theory.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hope I didn't just spoil that for
let's
you
just say to use a callback from this episode, the game, they don't reward you for experiencing things from one perspective. They punish you by giving you another perspective. They give you an Abby tariff and not an Ellie tax benefit. I don't.
That's interesting.
It felt better when I thought
It
about
worked
it.
perfectly.
So Lindsey, what do you coming up on 3 hours here? What do you got coming up on the old my 2 cents of nonsense?
Well, I need to start making content again. I got my setup again. I got my microphone again. I'll probably try and chop this up into a little short in case anyone wants to re-experience anything that they heard here tonight. Or if you tuned in late, turned in on us by tuning in late, and you want to revisit some of the earlier sections, maybe there'll be some shorts flying around that are about that. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with me right now. What's going on with you, fine gentlemen?
Gray.
Yeah, content on my own channel soon. One day, I swear. Yeah, I plan to be launching a show this month, so I hope next time we do this, I have more information for everybody. But yeah, stay tuned for that. But if you just can't get enough of me, go over to the Thinkers every Thursday on YouTube at That Darn Kidda. It's the Thinkers. It's every Thursday. It's people from like 3-4 different countries getting together, disagreeing about everything, but usually leaving amicably, except for the last few weeks. But, this week we're tackling the concept of what is a grifter, and there's something else in there, something big. I can't remember. I want to say it involves Hassan. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to get more into political stuff, everybody currently on the screen has been on that show before. You probably like people over there. Go over, enjoy. Every Thursday night on That Darn Kidda's channel, The Thinker.
Yeah, 11
That's about all I got going
p.m.
on.
Eastern is the start time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they're doing it at night now, not in the morning anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Thinkers After Dark.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Gets
Yeah.
a little bit spicier.
We could have used you for the objective art criticism discussion. Lindsey. We need more voices. That's what we need.
Charles, what do you have going
I'm
on?
always down.
Well,
I'd love to go on again.
I don't want to invite you somewhere where I don't run the thing. So
That's fair. But Kiddo was fun. It would be fun to do a thing with her again.
indeed, I don't think she's against you being there. It's just,
No, it's mainly me.
yeah. So very, very busy, interesting next 7 days for me. I might be on my way back to the U.S. I don't think that's the case, but
Getting ahead of the tariffs?
I got a bunch of films I got to sell before that tariff kicks in. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening within the next 7 days that it is keeping me from sleeping. But the next time we see you, who knows what will be happen? I got a letter saying that I got to see a doctor on the 12th to speak about a surgery, which not exactly not ready for a bunch of reasons. The crowdfunding is still highlighted on the chat. I appreciate it. If you spread the link, that's swell. But because of all of this I don't know, question regarding where I'm going to be, how open my gut is going to be, I've finished watching the 31 movies, and I'll probably be filming soon. So patrons will have early access to whatever I have when I get it, or when it's done. What are we laughing at?
Troy the Cream McClure happened to give a spoiler as to what my new show is called. Frosted Tips. So. Good times.
It is. And yeah, so more news this time next week, I assume. But patrons of the channel should get some drip of the 31 on 31. I think it's now called Law and Disorder. I certainly can be wrong. But yeah.
Strong title.
Yeah. So until next time, sorry about all the real life talk, but it kind of bled into this nerdy numbers box office talk. Hopefully, we don't have to do this again. But it seemed like things got a little saucy during that moment. But for Lindsey of My Two Cents of Nonsense and Gray of Grey Poupée, I've been Charles. Let us know down below what you think of all this. Interactivity would help us greatly. See you next time.
Bye.